Welcome to episode 44 of the Friday Nightmares podcast. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Halloween fun. This is going to be just a fun old episode. I am one half of your hosting team, Heather Powell, coming to you today from Waterdown, Ontario, Canada. And with me, as always, is
Mr. Spooky Smokeshow Crawford, coming to you from the haunted town of Swartz Creek in the county of Genesee, in the state of Michigan, in the United States of America, in the North American continent, in the Western Hemisphere, on the planet Earth, in the Milky Way galaxy, fully vaxxed, waxed, ready to climax, and if you can please get me wet, feed me after midnight, and please give me lots of candy.
Yeah, but certain kinds of candy.
All the candies.
I thought you only liked specific kinds of candy, like sour candy.
I do, but sour candies, tart candies, fruit candies.
Really, what you're saying is that you're easy on the candy and you'll take whatever you can get.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not a big fan of chocolate, but at the same time, I'm not gonna turn down chocolate.
Who turns down chocolate, really?
It's true.
We had a
Reese's peanut butter cups. No.
funny story about Reese's peanut butter cups. So last night, I was at a little campfire. My friend Anne had a fire at her place, and my other friend Amber, her kids came over. And Liam brought another Liam. So Liam is 12. Liam, who does the intro song for us for our podcast, brought a little friend with him, and we were doing some s'mores in the backyard with the fire. And Amber brought two types of chocolate bars and bought Reese's peanut butter cups and other chocolate. And what we were doing is she also bought ice cream cones. Ooh. And she was putting the Reese's peanut butter cup inside the ice cream cone and putting the marshmallows in there and then wrapping it up in tinfoil and cooking it on the fire.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, when you come up here, we'll have to do that.
That sounds amazing.
It was really good. It was very popular with the children and the big children. It was a lot of fun, but yeah, we had a variety of chocolate bars. Like Amber bought the new M&M ones where the M&Ms are embedded in the chocolate bar. And then there was like Swiss chocolate. And then there was like just regular milk chocolate. Like it was like a chocolate smorgasbord. And we had mini marshmallows, big marshmallows. Like we went all out. Like these kids were spoiled. Back in like when I was a kid, it was like, here's some cheap chocolate, some marshmallows, right, some graham crackers, go at it. These kids had like a smorgasbord of toppings to choose from. But we had a really, really good time. And Aurora, who is the youngest, she's going to be 6 on January 1st, was allowed to stay up past her bedtime. Ooh. So I'm sure that today was a really great day for Amber. She was also experiencing The Exorcist 1973 with her daughter, who was probably acting very similar, with screaming and other such things, where it doesn't make accidents on the floor. But she is definitely, we'll say, quick-witted with the words she comes up with and the responses she has to things. So yeah, that was really fun. And you got something fun planned as we, this will be released on October 29th. It will be released the weekend of Halloween. What are your plans for this Sunday, Scotty?
Well, it's either this Sunday or next Friday. Hasn't been officially confirmed yet. But either way, it'll be just in time for the spooky season. But I am actually going to be going to a haunted house, Exit 13, the one that I talked about on our haunted attractions episode back in the day. Yeah. And apparently, it's been about 10 years since I've been there. And apparently, they've re-renovated everything and made it bigger. They added like a bar into it and a couple other things. So yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and hope, like, I didn't have actually any plans to do anything seasonal this Halloween, but I'm finally meeting up with someone that actually likes to do this stuff. And
you have a friend?
Yes, I will just stay straight up saying a date.
But, you hear that, ladies? You're missing your opportunity.
Yeah.
Smokeshow is desirable, and this date individual really does like horror movies too. Like, yeah, she's really into horror movies, and she's really excited for Exodus, right?
Yes, Exit 13.
Oh, Exit 13.
Yep.
So it's called Exit 13. Okay.
Yeah, and then I think we're also going to try hitting up a apple orchard that has like a wine tasting.
So white.
Oh, it is.
You're gonna wear a scarf?
Maybe. We have to say we're gonna probably go and do some wine tasting as well that day at the orchard.
Very
they have all
nice.
Different kinds of hard ciders too, so we have to try some of those. So yeah, we'll see. Like we got some possible fun plans coming up for me before Halloween hits.
Well, I'm just pulling up Exit 13. Experience the largest, most extreme House of Horrors around? About. Let's see what it is about. Let's see what Scotty's walking into. This year, we're back with even more terror. The attractions have been completely renovated and expanded, bringing you all new horrors around every turn. Those brave enough to enter will be taken on an unparalleled journey into their deepest fears. Think you have what it takes to survive? We dare you to get off at exit 13, your destination for terror. Woo! And you say there's a bar. That really got my interest.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it's actually like a bar, but like they did say you can buy like beer and stuff like and just chill and have a drink afterwards. So I'm assuming it might be like a little bar section or something.
That's exciting. And how long do you know it's how long it takes for you to get through it, or?
I have no clue. When I went through it the last time, I'd say it was about 20 minutes, but like I say, it's been about 10 years or so it's hard for me to remember it all. But
well, just so you know, what happens if I get too scared inside the haunt? In case you get too scared and Mandy has to take you out. Yes, there are several emergency exits throughout the attraction that you may exit from at any time. However, once you leave the attraction, there will be no refunds issues, and you may not re-enter without purchasing a new ticket. Now here's another thing. Will things touch me? Yes.
Ooh.
So you better be ready to be touched.
Oh, I'm always ready to be touched. Right? Yeah.
How long is the wait? Depends on when you go. I want to see how long it is. How long does it take to go through? Times will depend. Okay, so they don't really say. I guess it depends how fast you run through it.
Right? And when it comes to the whole touching thing, I hope the haunters are ready to be touched back.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be fucking creeped out. The haunters are gonna be like, so there's this dude. He's a little handsy.
He just kind of came in and took over the haunt, and now he's the one haunting us. This is messed up.
What a great horror film, actually.
Right?
The haunters become the haunted. There you go, Bloomhouse. We got a film for you for Halloween 2022. I am going to a pumpkin patch tomorrow as well, also super white. I plan on wearing high boots, a scarf, bringing a Starbucks, and taking a picture by the pumpkins.
Oh, so white. Love
representing the white basic bitch that I'm proud of myself in being. And there is a little haunted house there. We'll see if Aurora is brave enough this year to go through.
Is this the one you went to last year?
Yes, the Spooky Barn.
Yeah.
Which was actually pretty spooky for like...
Because that's the one you were talking about, that you went to the haunt part yourself just to see how scary it was. Yeah, I went by myself
to see how it was. It was definitely too scary for her. It was scary for me. I'm not great at things jumping out at me. I'm not scared that something is going to happen to me. I'm just a very edgy, jumpy person.
Yeah, you are prone to being startled.
Yes, I get startled very easily. And, I found when I went to the haunt earlier this year, when I go to other haunts, because I startle so easily, haunters will follow me because they think that like they've startled me once and they think, but like I don't actually think they're going to hurt me. Like I'm not actually scared of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So sometimes I get real disappointed because they follow me for a bit and I just don't react to it. Like I see them there and I'm like, okay, you can follow me all you want. But because I startle so quickly. But this doesn't have actual haunters in it. It's just robots and pyrotechnics and
right.
So, and then I also bought a solo ticket to Frightmares, which is the convention that occurs up here in Niagara Falls. So I'm going to go down Friday night by myself. And I'm going to check out the makeup demonstration that's going to be going on. There's a magic show and just see what the vendors have to offer. There's like CJ Graham will be there. And
the one that's going to be there, because you sent me a link. Yeah. And I was looking through the guests and I was like, oh, that is awesome. But Steven Kostanski, the director of Psycho Gorman and The Void. And
well,
like, that is awesome. And I mean, that's totally Canadian because he is a Canadian filmmaker. So I was like, that is freaking sweet.
Well, and if you were able to come, we would get a picture of you with him.
Oh, hell yeah.
Wanted, right? I'm not a big person for meeting celebrities. I don't know what I would say. Like, I'd be like, I think that you make good movies. Like, I just feel, and then to get a picture with them, like, I don't care. Like, I think it's cool that people do that stuff, and I think it's awesome. It's just for me, I just don't have really any motivation to do it. Just seeing them in the room is good enough for me. Like just seeing that they're there and hearing them talk like at a panel or something is good enough for me.
Yeah, and you know me, I'm a bit of a shutterbug, take pictures of everything. So like having photos with the celebrity, it's just like a memory keepsake that I can have.
Well, it's a value. Cool. It's a value for you, right? Yeah. And like that's totally cool. That's your thing. For me, it's more or less like I just like to look at the vendors and what the vendors have, and I'm happy to go by myself because I can take my time.
Yes.
You know, with the exception of Scotty, like there's not a lot of people that like horror movies as much as we do. Now, Scotty can cross the border now, and our borders have officially opened even more. The travel ban's been lifted in Canada.
Nice.
And Canadians now can come across the United States border, land border.
Yeah, I was gonna say the land border. Yep, that's awesome.
So, but unfortunately, there is still the COVID testing, which prevents Scotty and I from visiting each other probably as much as we would like. Like in a perfect world, if there was no COVID testing, Scotty probably could have come up this Halloween weekend. We would have gone to the convention and he would have come and ripped it up on Devil's Night with me and my friends. But unfortunately, because we have to get COVID tests, he only has to get one coming in. I don't think he has to still get one going back.
As far as I know, it's still the same that way.
Right. So, you know, it's extra money that like you have to budget aside for, which is why we're looking at a New Year's trip because, you know, it's a couple months from now, a little bit more affordable. So since if you can't go with someone that's really into it, you know, I feel awkward. Like I feel like I'm keeping them there and they're bored.
Yeah. And you almost feel like you're dragging them around for you.
For me, right? So I'm like, well, it's Friday night because the next day I'm recording Slumber Party Massacre in the morning. And then I'm going to the Devil's Night at Absence. I'm like, why wouldn't I just take me? It starts at 5. I'll leave work a little early, head out there. And if I spend an hour to 2 hours or 3 hours, like however long I spend. And then I come back, right? Like it's just me going. And I could always video chat Scott and Brandon if I really felt the need to like share something with them.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, because I've done Motor City Nightmares by myself a couple of times. Like, granted, I met up with people that I knew from the convention, like just constantly being out there. So it was a little different because I'd meet them at the bar, have a couple drinks, and then we'd wander off and I'd go do my own thing. But I know some people that go there by themselves and then are in and out of there within an hour because they just kind of zoom through all the vendors and they leave. Where me, I'm just like, yeah, I'll stay a while and just kind of browse everything every vendor has, kind of take my time, look around. Then my way of doing it at the convention, so I don't blow all my money like first thing, is walk around, look at all the vendors, see what everyone has to offer.
Yeah, and then go back.
In my mind, decide what I want, kind of go back around and pick what I want to buy.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I think we did that. Oh God, it feels so long ago that we went to a convention together. It's literally 2 years ago, but I remember us doing that. At what was the one we went to? Astronomicon. We did do that. We walked around because I bought that really cool necklace. One of my most prized possessions that I've ever purchased. Actually,
that necklace is badass, and I'm glad I convinced you to spend the money on it.
You did. You really I really was. You know, I don't like buying stuff. I'm more about experiences, not things. Probably why I wouldn't buy a picture with somebody is because my experience would be just talking to them. Like I don't need a picture to commemorate, like to remember I was there, right? Like just being able to listen to them talk is enough for me. But yeah, no, that's a really good point. So anyway, bottom line is Scotty's not here. So Scotty was here, we probably would go together. But Scotty's not. So maybe next year when borders are a little bit looser, if I have a good time at Frightmares, and I think it's worth it for Scotty, especially if they have it Halloween weekend. And Scotty comes up and we rip it up on the Saturday night too, going out to party at Absence because Scotty's like besties with all the drag queens and like totally made himself at home talking to everybody. So I think you had a good time that Saturday night.
No, not at all.
But you did. You became friends with half of the drag queens. Didn't you add them on your Facebook account? And
stuff? One of the regulars that shows up to all the drag shows I friended, and then but I did. I don't know if they actually listen or not, but I did tell a couple of the drag queens about our show, and they were big horror movie fans, and they wrote it down and everything. So I don't know if they ever actually ended up finding us and listening. And if so, hello, and thank you for listening.
That's awesome. Hey, you know what? You might see them again because they'll be there New Year's. They usually, this bar does like a whole club night, drag show night. So it goes back and forth between a live band, a DJ, and queens performing. And it is just, man, is it a party.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, so Scotty will be up for that at least. But yeah, so I'm excited for that and for Devil's Night. And I bought tons of candy. I bought peanut-free candy. I bought regular candy and then gluten-free candy for all the little celiacs that exist out there. Yeah, more near and dear to my heart. And I bought a lot because we get a lot of kids.
Yeah, I'll say, like, I think you and I get about the same amount of kids. Like our areas are like the go-to trick-or-treating areas.
Yeah, because and you're probably maybe your friend will come over this year and help you hand out candy. I believe she's really, looking forward to that if it's possible, if she can get the time off.
So unfortunately, like how trick-or-treating stops at 8 o'clock here, so I don't know if she'll be making it in time, but we will see what happens. Maybe she'll get out of work early or something because it's slow.
Yeah, and you don't want her speeding, to get to you and creating little kid zombies. That would not be
right.
That would not be good.
No, but I'm planning on probably after this recording going and picking up all the candy for the trick-or-treaters.
Nice. What are you thinking of getting?
I usually at the stores that I go to, they have like a mixed variety bag of, and you know me, since I'm the type that loves the sweet, fruity, sour type candies.
Yeah.
It'll be like a variety pack of like Warheads, Crybabies. What else was there in there?
Crybabies. So Halloween fans?
We'll get to that. We will get to that.
We're just kidding, Halloween fans. Please don't unsubscribe to our podcast. We're just kidding.
But yeah, there's gonna be all sorts of probably like Starburst and Skittles and stuff like that will be in the mixed bag. Like I'll have to see what's out there because obviously a week before Halloween they may be bought out, especially with a lot of the shipping shortages that are going on right now. But who knows?
Yeah. Apparently there's a lot of shipping shortages.
Yeah, I'm experiencing it at work a lot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I honestly I bought a bunch of candy and there was tons at Walmart last week. I bought a box of Doritos. I bought a mixed bag of Jolly Ranchers and like Hershey's and like this other stuff. And then I bought a mixed box of like Kit Kat, which you guys have Kit Kat, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Smarties, Coffee Crisp, which is super Canadian, and Smarties. The good Smarties, the Canadian Smarties.
Yeah, not the chalky ones.
Fucking rocket shit. We call them rockets. That's what we call them up here.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like I had no problem buying tons last week. So I hope you're able to get some.
I'm not sure if candy is one of those items that's hard to get now, but like I know like cat food has been difficult, especially after I switched brands. Like grocery stores are limiting down to like one item per like dry food type thing, and just to keep people from hoarding it. So yeah, it's been a pain in the butt trying to keep my cats fed.
Oh man, Scotty, that sucks.
Yeah, like I mean, obviously there's plenty of stores, and like I have found ways every time, so it's not an issue, but at the same time, it's kind of just more a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it sounds like a pain in the ass. Fuck, that's irritating.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, hopefully that gets better. Well, and there's less shipping issues. Like shit.
A lot of it's because of labor shortages, because not many people are a lot of people are on strike because of pay and all that stuff. Which good for them.
Yeah, I think it's about time that people stand up for themselves. I think a lot of people in your state and in the United States, and generally speaking, are underpaid. For the work that they do. I don't think it's perfect here up in Canada, don't get me wrong, or in Ontario, but we at least have minimum wage laws and labor laws and I don't know, some kind of rules that employers are forced to abide by. Like we get stat holidays off, for example, and get paid for them.
Not many people here do.
Right? Like it's very, very fascinating. But yeah, Halloween is here. If you're listening and this is the weekend of Halloween, well, it should be because we're going to release this on Friday, October 29th. I hope you have a wonderful Halloween doing whatever it is you do, trick-or-treating on whatever day it is that you trick-or-treat. I hope you have awesome Halloween scary movie marathons, eat too much candy, and just enjoy the season. We're so blessed to be able to have access to the horror films that we do and the awesome Halloween events that we do. So from Scotty and I, sincerely, happy Halloween.
Yes, and, happy spooky Halloween.
Absolutely. And so this episode is just a lot of fun. We'll do our usual, what we've been watching in terms of the 2021s and older movies, but we're doing a little bit different for what we've been listening to in our Halloween topic this time around. So let's start off with the first one. This is a Netflix 2021 release called There's Someone in Your House. Dun, dun, dun. Now, Scotty, you were not impressed by this film.
No, I thought some of the kills were cool, but this is a story that just left a lot to be desired. I guess this was based off of a book from I found that out through, I think, one of our fellow listeners, Lucas Dickinson. He was talking about that.
Lucas in the house. Thank you, Lucas. You always bring the knowledge.
He does. But yeah, like this one, I love the idea of the killer just basically wearing a different face for each that basically is the face of the victim he's going to kill. I love that idea. It's really cool. And for a Netflix film, it was pretty violent, and like I'm not going to complain because Chris Genro has been talking about it, and he brings up a good point. This has been a year of slashers coming back too, which is really nice.
Yeah, I think that's a valid statement for sure.
But yeah, I just found this one just kind of be just middle of the road. I mean, it's not bad. I would say I recommend at least checking it out, especially if you have Netflix, because it is at least entertaining. I just found the story was lacking.
You know what I feel like this movie is like? It's like I Know What You Did Last Summer for this generation.
Yes.
Like that's what this movie really, as I was watching this, I'm like, this is such a teen film for teens of today.
It is.
Know, if I Know What You Did Last Summer, the original came out, somehow we had Netflix and the access to VODs, that would have been a VOD. I don't think that would have got a theater release personally. I could be wrong on that. And don't get me wrong, I love that movie, but it was very much a teenage centric film.
Yeah.
And this is very much a teenage centric film.
It totally is.
Right? Like it's a 96-minute runtime. It's really developed off of relationships among these young people and the social outcasts that exists in school and the hierarchy in schools, and taking on some real issues of the masks that we wear and the secrets that we keep. I kind of called the killer within 15 minutes of who it was, which is fine. I think for what this is a fun little slasher teenage one. I did dig the little romance that was going on between one of the characters and another character. I thought it was kind of cute.
Yeah.
I thought they actually had some pretty good chemistry together too.
They did actually, yeah.
Right? For young people, I was like, shit, I wonder if they ended up dating after this movie. Like they seemed like they had some chemistry. So right, so that was fun. I think if you like slashers and you enjoyed those teeny age slashers that have come out this year, like perhaps if you like the Scream series, you enjoyed that. If you enjoyed the one that came out, now this was more of a comedy, but that came out earlier this year about the party in February.
All My Friends Are Dead.
All My Friends Are Dead. If you like that kind of flavor, only this is not a comedy by any stretch of the imagination. No. But if you like teenage slasher films and you're looking for an easy watch on Netflix at a 96-minute runtime, this doesn't overstay its welcome. It's fun, it's fluffy. Just go in with the expectations that this is a teenage film meant for teenagers of this age group, and try to take yourself back to when you were a teen and you were watching like shitty horror films like Urban Legends. And as much as we can argue that films like that are great, they're great because we have some nostalgia for them.
Yes.
Right. And that's okay. It's okay that we look back and be like, oh my God, look at this movie. It's so great. Like nothing's wrong with just having a good time with a film. And that's what I feel like this one is.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. And I'll let you introduce the next one, Scotty, because I think you're the one that recommended this to me.
Okay. So yeah, the next one is The Manor, which is one of the Blumhouse Amazon production films where they finally released all 4 this month. Honestly, I think this one may be my favorite of the 4 that came out. But this one has a return of an actress that was around back in the 80s. I think she may have been still doing stuff, but I don't think she's touched the horror genre in a while. But Barbara Hershey, and she was in one of my favorite
Not to interrupt you, she was also in Insidious 1 and 2.
Really?
Yeah, she was in Insidious 1 and 2.
Okay. Yeah. So yep, I take that all back. She's been
no. It's but like I wouldn't have known that either. I looked up her film history. That's how I figured that out.
Yeah, I was gonna say I take that back then. But yeah, she's still in this horror genre. But Barbara Hershey stars in this as basically a grandmother that is getting put into I guess assisted living housing because she ends up having a stroke on her grandson's birthday. And things just kind of are not right in this assisted living. And it kind of, in a way, deals with how some assisted living / nursing homes treat their patients in real life. Like I see there's that kind of a line there where a little bit of a social commentary. But I really dug this one because I really liked all the characters in this. Like you were kind of like, they all had really good chemistry together and just like were people I didn't want to see get hurt. And also had some very creepy moments around with it, but I just thought Barbara Hershey's character did an amazing job Like I was so rooting for her. And when the ending happened, I expected your typical like type of ending.
Mm-hmm.
And it went a different path. And I was like, I have to applaud the film for that. I'm going, well, good job, movie.
I was shocked on the path it went.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it was kind of predictable with like the reveal, but like the twist in the offer and everything, like I'm going, I did not expect that.
I was like, balls on you, movie. Balls on you, right?
Yeah, so I really dug the hell out of this one. It's not like going to be super high on my list or anything like that, but for what these films are, this is definitely the better of the four for me personally. I was saying, like, since I suggested it to you, what did you end up thinking on it?
I think Barbara Hershey steals the show. Barbara Hershey is 73 years old.
And she looks beautiful.
She is fucking awesome. She may get an award from me this year for female protagonist.
Oh, wow, nice.
With her and oh my goodness, I can't remember the actress we talked about, but that was in The Night House, Rebecca Hall.
Yes.
Like 2 performances this year by 2 women who fucking nailed it. There's a lot of swearing in this film and it's perfectly included. Like,
yes,
you know, and I'm not obviously Scott and I don't have an aversion to swearing, but the way Barbara Hershey delivers some of these fucking lines, man, like she nails it. Like,
oh, she does.
She made this movie better because she was in it. Like, there's certain actors and actresses that, like Richard Brake that we saw in Bingo Hell. That movie was, in my opinion, not that great till he showed up, and then he stole the film. And I think what Blumhouse has done well for some of their films is they've included people who are really good actors or actresses and that they know can carry the film on their own acting chops or their own ability to deliver. And Barbara Hershey does that. I think this captured aging very well and how elderly are treated, sadly.
Yeah.
And I thought the grandson was great in it. I thought all the characters were great in this. I thought for a Blumhouse film, whatever you want to call the company, I thought it was one of their better ones. I definitely have it up there above a lot of their other stuff that they've done.
Yeah, I'll say, like, I was very pleasantly surprised with this one.
I recommend it. It has an 81-minute runtime. It's on Amazon, so if you have Prime, you'll have access to it. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and it's a really good story. And if you like Barbara Hershey, you know, she's been in Insidious 1 and 2, Black Swan. She has a very long and respectful film history. So if you want to see some great acting, please check it out. It's worth it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Like, I say this, like, one of the ones that you should check out this year for sure.
And her performance alone, right? Like, to me, you know, and there's some other mature actors in there as well. And sometimes we don't value people who age in society, particularly women. And I think this movie shows that no matter what age you are, you can fucking rock it. Barbara Crampton has done the same thing. You know, there's certain films I don't love her in, but in Jacob's Wife, I thought she pulled out her acting chops. And the other movie, We Are Still Here. Yeah. Another movie where I was like, fuck, she can't act. Like, she's really, really, really good. So it's nice to see women who are later in their years taking on these starring roles and just, you know, stealing the show.
Agreed.
All right. So next Blumhouse movie is Black as Night. This is a 87-minute runtime. This is very much another teenage vampire film. Right? I think it was Bit that came out last year or something like that. That was also very teenagey. This one's no exception. It is a character of Black youth that are in this film. And it kind of revolves on some cultural stuff, some challenges that are faced within that community and poverty in New Orleans and, you know, the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina and what it did to that community and the social economic barriers that they face. Like, it is touched on in this movie. I wouldn't say this movie's political, but they're being like, hey, shit, this is what happened. This is what happened when you have a huge ass hurricane that fucking destroys everything. And, you know, it's a fun, fluffy vampire flick. It's kind of like Vampire Hunters, but a little more modern. I really liked it. I thought that it was really entertaining. I really enjoyed the main character's relationship with her best friend. I thought Shauna and Petro were great. I thought Petro was really funny. I thought he was a great little actor. I hope to see him in more stuff. The grown-ups were the only parts of this movie that I thought they didn't act that well. Right. The kids were all great, to be honest with you. Like, I'm kind of glad I don't know where they got some of these grown-ups from, especially some of the grown-up vampires. I'm like, what is this? Were you in a pornography and then they brought you here or some Lifetime movie? Because these kids are out acting circles around you. Especially the two main ones, especially Shauna and Petro. or Pedro or Petro. He was awesome young man. I don't even know if he's been in anything else. I'm going to take a look right now. He was in World War Z.
Oh, okay.
And Dog Days and some other movies, but I really enjoyed him. Yeah, I thought it was fun. What did you think, Scott?
I thought that for being a vampire story, it was fine. Like, very generic vampire story. Don't expect it to do anything new in that area. But the topics that it does touch on, like it brings puts the eye on like the basically what happens during like those big hurricanes, especially in a more poverty-stricken area as is, and the rebuilding of it. So I like that aspect of it, and I love the acting. But yeah, like the generic vampire stuff, like I'm burnt out on like generic zombie, generic vampire type stories. Give me, if you're gonna do these that have been done before, give me something a little more new, a little more fresh take on how this stuff should be done.
Fair.
The biggest like I'd say this, one of the other ones is just kind of like middle of the road for me, but my biggest complaint I would say is some of the shots are just way too dark.
Yeah.
Like, even on a like regular TV, like I do watch stuff on my phone, and this one was difficult to watch on my phone. So I watched it at home, and yeah, it was, some scenes were just shot way too darkly. Like you really couldn't see what was going on. But technically that's about the only thing that's really wrong with it. I definitely, if you're a fan of like the vampire type stories and like teenage coming of age type films, I recommend this.
Very teenage, very Blumhouse movie, right? Like, where we said the Manor was kind of like the upper tier of it, this was very much low hanging fruit. The only other actor, I want to give acting props to the woman who played the mother who was addicted to crack. She presented a crack addict really well.
She did too.
That was the only adult that I kind of felt acted well in this. I really felt the adults drugged this movie down quite a bit. I would have just preferred it was only the kids the entire time, because they were all great. But yeah, I agree with your assessment, Scott. This is very much a paint by numbers, vampire flick for teenagers. Like if you got some teenagers in your life, they might really dig this. There's a lot of like, terminology that's used that's relevant. And that's what Blumhouse movies are about. Like, yes, they do some deeper films and some more, extreme films, but then they produce films like this, which are for the masses. So you take it as such. So yet again, if you have Amazon, it is available on Amazon Prime. All right. Why don't you introduce? We won't go into it too much.
No, we'll save that for our Out of the Dark. But speaking of Blumhouse, I don't know if anybody's seen this film. It's pretty hard to tell. Like I haven't seen anybody really talk about it on Facebook. But there was a sequel to Halloween 2018 that just came out called Halloween Kills. And yeah, I don't know if anybody like loves this film or hates this film. I haven't heard anyone's opinion on this yet. So I'm very curious to see what people think. That joking aside, Halloween Kills came out and did fucking gangbusters on the weekend, like over 50 million for box office opening, which for horror, fuck yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the effort and time and energy that put into this film, like it was deserved. It was definitely an entertaining watch.
Yep, I have my personal issues with it, but can't really get into them because they are spoilers.
We will.
Yeah, we will talk about that later.
Yeah.
But like all in all, I still found this to be very entertaining. If you are a fan of Halloween 2018 and just a fan of Halloween in general, you will probably find some very good entertainment from this. Just go in with the expectations that this could be one of the mixed Halloween sequels. Just go in with your expectations low. Don't go in high, because then you're going to have a very big disappointment there. Just go in middle of the road or low expectations, and you're going to have fun, because
Scott's already indicated what the dark's going to look like.
But at the same time, this is the 12th Halloween film, people.
Yes.
Just think of it that way.
How the only thing I'll say here, because we will save more for spoilers, is one, the theater was full for COVID. So up in Ontario, you have to be vaccinated to attend the movies. You have to show proof of vaccination with your ID. You pick your seats in advance, and you're spread out in the theater. So with the COVID restrictions, the theater was very full for a 8:00 showing of this movie, which I was very happy to see, because it's keeping the movie theaters alive.
And the thing that's great about this is this also did a dual release on Peacock. So there was the streaming service, and it still did amazing in theaters. So that makes me very happy.
Yes. And it shows that, if you're not comfortable yet with going back to theaters, or you're not vaccinated here in Ontario and you can't go to theaters, you can watch it on Peacock. I don't know if we get Peacock, but
you have to look into that. I'm curious.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I'm going to go to the theaters because I'm vaccinated, so it doesn't really matter. But I do feel that Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and the upcoming movie Halloween Ends, which I know nothing about except for the spoilers that Brandon and Scott gave me. I would have known nothing if they hadn't said anything, which is fine. I don't really care. It reminds me very much of the same themes that occurred in Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. Yep. I feel like it follows the formula of those movies in terms of what happens in each film with protagonists and antagonists. Personally. Yep. So, that's fine. I think that those movies, the Star Wars films are great, and I'm not, Star Wars fans, calm down. I'm not saying, I'm just saying that there's a formula between those three films that when I was watching Halloween Kills, I'm like, no, Empire Strikes Back.
Well, let's not compare to Empire Strikes Back, because that one is the high point. Yeah, but I just mean
antagonists doing well. Is what I mean, right? So when I say this, I'm talking about within those films where the protagonist does well, and then where the antagonist does well.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then when the protagonist fights back.
Yep. I see what you mean now.
What reminded me of the similarities.
Okay. I can get
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying now.
Right. So you know what? I had a good time. It's an hour and a 47-minute runtime. The popcorn tasted yummy. That was probably one of my favorite parts of being there. And you know what? People were enjoying it. It was fun. Scream 5 preview came on though, and Scott and I have been making fun of it. Hey Scott, do you think Cindy Prescott has a gun?
I'm Cindy Prescott. Of course I have a gun.
Tom line. Anyway, we'll see how that is when it comes out. And I'm a huge Scream fan, but when I saw that trailer, I don't think I probably rolled my eyes any harder. They would have fallen out in the fucking movie theater. But we will get into Halloween Kills more in our Out of the Dark. But just so everyone is aware, here in Canada, you can watch it on Cineplex. In the States, you can watch it at any movie theater as well as Peacock. So.
Yep. And I think we both at least recommend people go and see it.
Oh yeah, I think that if you're a horror fan, you'll be at a miss if you don't go watch it.
Yeah, because you will have fun with it.
Yeah,
like I say, just don't go in expecting high art.
Don't go in expecting Empire Strikes Back. Scott almost fucking beheaded me when I
was gonna say
I explained my argument of why I felt that way. He was like,
I was gonna say, because that was about to insult my favorite Star Wars film.
He was gonna be like breaking that cane he had last time we recorded.
I'll show you Gandalf the Wounded.
Now you saw this one too. Is it my turn to introduce the movie? I think it is. Yeah. So this is another Netflix movie, only it's an international film, and it's called The Trip. And it's about a husband and wife whose obviously marriage is on the rocks.
Just to say the least.
To say the minimum. And they take a trip up to their local or to their family cottage, and shenanigans occur against each other, and then an outside force forces them to combine their efforts. This is a pretty funny movie, and there's some pretty tense, good acting that happens. This goes from being comical to being straight out, the male actor in this. There's a certain scene where you believe he's terrified.
Yeah.
It's incredibly well done. It's on Netflix. This is a must watch. Dave C, The Trip on Netflix is a must watch. For your horror list of 2021.
Agreed, Dave, because this one, I think you'd be at a miss if you miss this one, because the covers that I've seen for this one don't really sell it. But once again, this is, Netflix with their international films.
Always nail it out. Nail it. Every single time. Well, not every single time. Majority of them, I would say 90% of international films on Netflix are amazing. I cannot say the same thing about Shudder.
Right. And yeah, my thoughts on this film, you pretty much nailed it. This is just a fun, but also like it's a fun movie for like the first half, and then it kind of takes this darker turn. But like, man, like I thought everyone in this did really good. The gore is freaking awesome. The story is very interesting and keeps you glued to the screen, and it's a fast-paced film. Like
Absolutely.
it doesn't take its time to explain what's going on. It goes from 0 to 100, and it's a lot of fun. Like
It's
really
almost a
enjoyed this
2-hour runtime. It doesn't feel like an almost
No,
2-hour runtime.
no, and I really enjoyed the fuck out of this film.
Yeah, I see you gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd. I think that's a really fair ranking. I think some people would have this in a top 21. I think it could definitely grace, depending on your preference. But yet again, this is a year of horror comedy and indie films. Mark Nato. So this to me is another example of international horror done right. So please check it out. It is available in dubbing or it is available in subtitles, whatever your preference is for wherever you are. Now, have you seen this next one, Scotty?
I have not. This is the one on the list I have not seen.
Okay. So this dropped on Shudder, I believe this week or last week. I think it was this week. And it's called The Medium. It's a Thai film. It's 131 minutes in length. And it's filmed like a mockumentary about basically possession. It's a little slow to start off with. Which was some of the reviews I read on Shudder is correct. You need to take you got at least 30 minutes of some real plot development, which makes sense later on. The reason why they have that in there makes sense. But the possession is the slowest possession that's creepy and picks up. Like there's one part where this girl starts playing at this playground and her friend's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you? And she's filming her being like, you're seeing so weird. And she shoves this little kid out of nowhere, like shoves this kid hard and it comes out of nowhere. And it was the first like, wow, that's weird. And then she turns and looks at her friend and the darkness in her face is just, it's haunting. Like it's a very slow burn possession, not a happy ending. The last 20 minutes are wild of this film. You really got to watch what's going on because it's intense. But it is a long film. We're looking at 2 hours and 10 minutes in length.
Oh, wow.
So you need to be buckled up. Definitely, I feel like these filmmakers watched a lot of mockumentaries and tried to recreate it. And I think for an international mockumentary, I think it was a pretty excellent film. Not a lot of people have watched it yet. It has a 3.4 rating on Letterboxd, but I would definitely say if you like mockumentaries and you like procession films and you enjoy international films, it's worth checking out.
Sweet. I will have to watch this one then. I'm curious.
And it's available on Shudder. All the Shudders.
Nice. Yeah, I'm definitely...
Scott muted himself there.
Yeah, I kept trying to hit the unmute button and it wouldn't do anything like but yeah, I guess I can talk about the next one.
You saw this one, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, did you recommend it to me?
No, actually, I don't think I even brought this one up to you or Brandon when I watched it because at first, after watching it, I wasn't the biggest fan. So I was just like, okay, it's not one I'll suggest to them. But yeah, this is Coming Home in the Dark. And it's about this family that is on this road trip and they just so happen to stop and have a picnic, some like beautiful scenic area, when two strangers show up out of nowhere and pretty much kidnap them and take them for basically force them to drive them around. That is like the most basic plot I can give you guys without getting into details. Yeah. But needless to say, I thought everything about this film was really well done. The acting, performances, it felt a little drug out to me. And that's where I was kind of losing interest. Also, this is something I'm going to try to rewatch before the end of the year because I know a lot of people have really dug this film. Yeah. Just go into this one expecting something very heavy. This is not an easy watch. No. There's some messed up stuff that happens in this. And I have to say the reasoning for why everything is happening ties in towards the end. And it kind of leaves you with a, oh shit moment.
Yeah.
It's been a little while since I watched it. I think it's been 3 episodes since I watched it. So like I'm a bit vague on it. That's kind of why I want to give it a rewatch, because I know a lot of people are really digging it, and there was something that didn't connect with me, and I want to see if maybe it was just I was too distracted or whatever. But I'm curious on your thoughts on this.
I kind of feel similarly to you, only I was the acting is what really stood out for me in this. The dialogue that occurs, and I feel like you're learning layers of what happened throughout this film. Like it's getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper as it goes. And that's what I really appreciate about this film. It is a 93-minute runtime, and it hits you harder because I think of the content that it is. This will not be for everybody. This is a slow burn in a way that you have to, like, stuff is happening, but why it's happening is unsure. You have to kind of invest in listening as to why it's happening. Like, it's the weirdest slow quick burn movie I've ever seen before in my life. Like, because everything is happening quick, but the reasoning to it is taking a long time to get to. So, but I recommend checking it out. It is available on iTunes, Google, YouTube, and Microsoft Store. I would say if you enjoy thriller / horror films, if very, topics that are sensitive, such as maybe, child abuse or other such things is difficult for you, you may not want to watch this movie, but it does do a very good job of exploring what happens when we do nothing.
Yes, exactly.
And the guilt that is associated with knowing about something and choosing not to stop it. So I think that's, the best kind of, introduction I can give to this film.
Yep. I think, that's, you nailed it perfectly, actually. Because it is, I think that might be what it was. It's like, oh, everything's happening so fast, but this is like still feeling like a very slow burn that, there was just something missing for me. So I want to give this a rewatch because, I think it deserves it. Like there is some stuff in it that I may have missed.
Awesome.
And well, on this list, look who has more films that someone has not seen.
I know, I'm proud of you. About time.
Bam! The mentee has become the mentor.
Oh yes, that's exactly what's happened, Scott. Absolutely. Finally, you've taken the lead.
I have.
Never that you didn't have like years of podcasting experience before we started working together, for sure.
That's not like, that's nothing.
Yeah, I just did 2 other podcasts before you existed, Heather, which we never even talk about anymore. It's like we don't repeat their names.
All right.
Like, anyway, if anybody wants to listen to Scott's old podcast, I think it's archived on Legion.
Yep, at least the podcast by the cemetery is.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. Podcast the other one does not exist anywhere anymore.
Yeah, I don't think you can find the horror drunks anywhere, can you?
No, I think I found like maybe 2 episodes, but it took some real deep digging to find them.
Oh man, and you guys were drunk for half of it anyway, weren't you?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but it was a mess. But you got to start somewhere.
Hey, you do. Not all of us can start on an A-list podcast like I did. Where
exactly.
Some of us have to cut our teeth.
Exactly. So yeah, let me jump into these films. So one of the films I watched this week was a sci-fi original, Slumber Party Massacre remake. So yeah, I went into this with low expectations when I heard sci-fi. I'm going, okay, these guys do a lot of like the just kind of cheesy tongue-in-cheek animal attacks type films, nothing really serious, but I ended up coming out of this pleasantly surprised. This I found to be a very fun slasher that takes the gender roles of characters in this film and swaps them around. So like you have like, in the first Slumber Party Massacre, lots of women getting topless and lots of, ogling of women, even though it was directed by a female and was like hinted at with the whole masculine part of slashers and just kind of doing the take on that. This one turns it around to where the men are the eye candy, getting topless, having pillow fights, slow-mo shower scenes.
I love it.
And I loved every second of it. I'm going, bravo movie for turning this around on its head. Like, and just doing this whole gender reversal thing. I love it. The kills were actually really well done. Almost all of it was practical, which is really cool. Couple nods to the first and second film of the originals.
Nice.
The killer looks, they got someone, at least because it's been a little while since I watched the original, but they got a killer that looked very reminiscent of the killer from the first film.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I just found this to be very fun. The reasoning for some like the women characters going to where they go. Once you find out why they went there, it's just like, okay, that's kind of dumb. But once you get past that, it's still just like a very fun slasher that I recommend. And I think that people would, like, especially if you're a fan of just wanting to see newer slashers, you need to watch this. And also just the gender role reversals. Bravo. I loved it. It was
all men that are insecure with their sexuality. I don't like this movie.
right.
I didn't like that it showed other men.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, all the characters had some funny lines. There were some annoying characters, but like there was a good mix in here.
Well, that was like the original.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I think there was even a nod to, the girl that loved like that was eating pizza like off of a dead body in the first film. There's even nods to stuff like that in this film. It's great.
That's awesome. Good for them. Good for them. Yeah. Where can you find this one, Scotty? Sci-Fi Channel only?
Well, it aired on Sci-Fi, and it's available on iTunes, Vudu, Google Play, Spectrum On Demand, and one I have not heard us say before, but Fubo TV.
Fubo. Cool.
But yeah, I definitely recommend this one. This one was a hell of a lot of fun and went above my expectations for what I thought this film was going to be. So yeah, good job, freaking movie. And then I will go on into the next one. I decided to watch part 2 of an anthology, a very low budget independent film. This is 1031 Part 2. And it's basically, since it is the Halloween season, I wanted to try watching something Halloween themed that I haven't seen yet. And I figure, I'm a fan of anthologies, so I'll give this a shot. I was not a fan of this one.
Oh, it's too bad.
Like, I see what they were trying to do, but I think just the budget wasn't there. And the acting was not that great in most of the stories. A couple of the stories just felt like they drug on way too long. A couple of stories had some fun to them, but all in all, this was just like I was like, watch VHS 94. I find that better than this. That's saying something.
Yeah, because we really, that's our number one.
Yeah, number one. Best film of the year. Absolutely.
Followed by Don't Breathe.
Number 2. Yeah.
Number 2. Absolutely. So good.
But yeah,
followed by Halloween Kills. Number 3.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, I figured I'd give this a shot because I wasn't a big fan of the first one either, 1031. But it's an anthology because I'm like, okay, they'll at least have a story or two that I might like. And this was just kind of blah.
Hey, don't try, don't get, right?
Exactly. Right. I got to fluff up my numbers somehow to catch up to you.
Hey, fluff. Is this available anywhere? Did you say whether it was?
Actually,
someone decides someone wants to check it out.
Yeah, I pulled it up and didn't even say. So yeah, it's available on Amazon Prime, Google Play, Tubi.
Watch it on Tubi, everyone. That's the advice, probably.
Yeah, Amazon Prime or Tubi, because then you're like, if you have Amazon Prime, you're gonna get a good quality one with no commercials. So, but nice. I'd say it's a skip. But if you're a sucker for Halloween themed anthologies, give it a watch at your own risk.
You've been warned. You have been warned. Well, for older movies, I watched Session 9 from 2001. I've always seen it, and I just haven't watched it. I felt like it was like a CSI episode thrown in together with some of the people that were in it. Yep. But man, what a great film. I don't want to give too much away, but this was not what I thought it was going to be. And it's almost filmed, and I don't mean it's almost filmed like a TV film.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel like it's a theatrical movie. It definitely wasn't a theatrical release. At least I don't think so. I don't remember it coming out.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Right. But it really explores mental health. The ending I didn't see coming, honestly, until like almost the end, like getting like 20 minutes left. I'm like, wait a minute, something's not right here. Like, and I began to kind of put it together. But yeah, great film. If for some reason you've skipped this bad boy, check it out. It's worth a rental. $3.99 rental, $4.99 rental, or if you are able to find it on the streaming service, it's no longer available on Netflix Canada. But I totally recommend it. Really had a lot of fun with this one.
Yeah, I remember, like, it's been quite a few years since I watched it, but man, I remember this being like super freaking creepy.
Yeah, like the ending, I was like, yeah, and I like movies where there's not a lot of violence in it. There's violence, but it's not the entire thing, and it's not all jump scares.
Right.
Like
it's just the atmosphere.
And you think something super, and it's caught between supernatural and just somebody being evil. And it's a really, really good balance. Yeah, I definitely recommend this one, but I'm really curious about the one you brought to the table.
All right. So the movie I brought to the table. I'm okay. A little backstory before I get into what the movie is. There was a movie that I seen when I was very young that I didn't remember the name of it. I just remembered certain scenes from it. And I was trying to find, I was asking people if they knew what I was talking about, and it took me forever, did a lot of digging. And the movie I'm talking about is called Auntie Lee's Meat Pies from 1992. My parents brought home the VHS because, like I've said before, my stepdad worked as a video distributor, and I watched it. Didn't remember the name of it. Remembered certain scenes. I'm going, man, what the fuck was that? So yeah, took some digging, found it, and because of a good friend and his Plex, it was available on there. And I'm going, oh no shit. Okay, I gotta go back and watch this. It's probably going to be absolutely terrible. Yeah, it was fine. It wasn't as there was some gory moments to it, but it was all done low budget. One thing I did not remember though was the starred Karen Black and Michael Berryman. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. But it's very hokey, cheesy, just like you would expect from a title like this. Reminded me a bit of Motel Hell, and
nice.
So it's just like over the top, silly, but it's basically about this Auntie Lee who runs a like meat butchery shop type thing, and has a house with her beautiful nieces. And the beautiful nieces go out and lure in people to supply the meat for Auntie Lee's famous meat pies in this town.
Sounds like a very 1990s film.
Oh, it totally is. But yeah, it's very hokey, very cheesy. Had some, of course, very beautiful women in it for the nieces. Karen Black, like always, does a great job and was just funny, and just you could tell she was having fun with the role. Oh, and it also stars Pat Morita from Karate Kid. Wax on, wax off, Danielson. As the sheriff, and that was just kind of fun to see him. Michael Berryman was just basically this slow guy that was their mechanic, and I didn't like how they portrayed him and portrayed.
It was like a very 90s.
Yeah, but at the same time, like Michael Berryman seemed to roll with it. All in all, yeah, this was nothing special. Went on for way too long. But I'm glad I at least remembered what the hell this name of this movie was and went back to revisit it. So now I can at least say, okay, I finally put in those clues and got to watch it again. This one, however, is not available anywhere. Surprise, surprise.
Oh man, but it sounds like a gem.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those, like, I could see some boutique label releasing and everybody going, oh, I must buy this because it's so like just off the wall and not like something that anybody would have in their collection. But yeah.
Good to know. Good to know. Well, I'm glad that you brought it. Thank you, Scott. I was wondering if it was like a brand of people that sold pies. It sounds like something that you would have bought in the 90s of meat pies.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That's fun. That's a fun little film. So what we're listening to, we're doing something a little bit different. Usually we shut out podcasts or audiobooks that Scott's slowly getting through. Have you finished that audiobook, The Shining, yet or no?
Almost.
That narrator's really getting to you, huh?
Yeah, it's a chore.
Oh man, that's too bad. So we're just going to talk about some of our favorite Halloween songs. So typically spoiler, I work from home now, and I've been working from home for the past year and a half. But prior to that, prior to me even starting this podcast, I used to go to a United Way, which is a organization that we have up here in Canada. That's a charity organization. We would have a United Way talent show every year at my work. And we would dress up in costume. One year we went as trolls, like the troll dolls, and we won an award. Another year they went as the Toy Stories. I wasn't part of that one. They did the Toy Story stuff. And I dressed up as a singles costume. And I went as Lady Luck. I had this whole outfit that I wore. I put makeup on, and I won the singles costume award. That was back in 2019.
Yeah, I remember that actually.
Yeah. I forget what I won. I feel like I won a gift card, and I used that gift card for Starbucks coffees on campus for like the entire time until like the pandemic hit. So anyway, on my way to work, I really like Halloween, and we would go to this talent show. So there'd be the costume contest, and then other people would do different things. Like sometimes you would have people that would juggle or dance or play music. It was a lot of fun. and we'd have a little lunch with it too. And yeah, it was a really great effort that they put into it. I actually really miss having a chance to go and do that. It was something that was really cool at my workplace. But I used to listen to music on the way in. So now I listen to that same playlist when I go for my walks. And I always like to listen to it on Halloween or the date that I'm doing something that is Halloweenish. So one of my favorite songs on this playlist is Thriller by Michael Jackson, which I know Scotty loves because of Vincent Price.
Oh, and just because it's fucking Michael Jackson. Yeah.
Right. Like, a great music video too.
Yeah. I'll say amazing song.
Who directed that music video? I know it's someone famous, but I can't remember it right now.
John Landis.
John Landis. That's who it is. That's probably why I didn't want to remember, because I think Twilight Zone and I get mad.
Right.
But, that aside, Thriller by Michael Jackson. Second song I always like to listen to is Time Warp by Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Let's do the time warp again.
That specific version. Now, the one by the Glee cast is fine. Like, I'm not going to shit on that, but I do prefer the original.
There was one a bunch of celebrities did. I think it was during the pandemic, because they were doing it all through Skype. And Jack Black was in it, and a couple other like famous celebrities, and that was really awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like Jack Black, because Jack Black definitely has a great voice, and his addition to the song was really cool. Like, I really had a fun. You'll have to look that one up, but yeah, it was a lot of fun when they redid that song.
Oh, sorry, I just dropped my phone. Sorry, Scott. Oh my god. Sorry. Anyway, I got kind of frazzled there. You can leave this in or take it out. It's up to you. Dropping my phone threw me off completely. This is Halloween, Nightmare Before Christmas, the character version, I guess you would say, from the movie. And then also Marilyn Manson's version.
Yes.
I like Marilyn Manson's version.
Yeah, Marilyn Manson's version's way more just like creepy and spooky sounding. And like Nightmare Before Christmas version is just more fun, which also has kind of like a Tim Burton-esque feel to it. But yeah, I really love this song too. Like, I didn't have a lot to add to this list because you pretty much grabbed all my Halloween go-to songs when you made this list.
I'm glad that you also like to listen to these. Do you have a playlist you listen to as well?
I do.
Just me?
I do. Most of mine are just not really Halloween songs, but like songs and horror films. Oh, there is one I forgot to add that I'll be adding at the end.
For sure. Oh, I'm excited. Ooh, we'll see what that is. The next one is, I only heard this one recently on the radio. It was a couple years ago when I was driving to work. And this is before I did playlists and Spotify. And this song came on, A Nightmare on My Street, with DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. This movie's fucking hilarious.
That was in the end credit sequence of Nightmare 5.
Was it really?
Yep. Oh, it's just totally 80s and cheesy and fun. Or yeah, I guess that would be 80s.
I'm glad you like this song too. I always thought the lyrics of him being like, I told Freddie, like, we went like with that sweater, dude, we're not going to pick up any ladies, or I forget what he says, but it's so funny.
And have you ever seen the music video to it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you need to see the music video. It's pretty entertaining too.
Like, honestly, I'm glad you really like this song too. I literally only really found out about it 5 years ago. I don't know how I missed it, but fuck, it's funny.
Yeah, me and my brother used to listen to it all the time when we'd hang out back in the day.
Oh man, it's so good. Next one is Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult.
Yes.
And that always makes us think of the Frighteners.
Really?
Because it's in the movie. It's at the end.
Is it real? I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it's in the movie. It's at the end.
Okay, because for me, when I hear Don't Fear the Reaper, I think of the TV miniseries of The Stand, because that plays in the very beginning after the plague is hit.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's funny. And I think of it from the Frighteners.
Wow, that is kind of funny.
Because I remember the scene where Michael J. Fox, and I think it's Minnie Driver. I don't know if it's Minnie. No, it's some other chick. It's not Minnie Driver. Some other well-known actress at that time. Are like laying on a blanket and that song starts playing. And that's why I always think of it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool that we have two different memories of that song. Of course, the Halloween theme song by John Carpenter.
I mean, you have to. It is like so fucking iconic.
Absolutely. I've always loved this song as a kid. The Purple People Eater.
I have not heard this song in forever.
As a one-eye, one-horned, flying purple people eater. One-eye, one-horned, flying purple people eater. I love it. Stood on the fence, started to rock. He was really rocking around. Like, it's just a total 1950s film song, but it's a lot of fun. And there was a movie too. I saw
Was
it
it
when I
really?
was young. Yeah, there's a movie. But it's like from the 80s. I don't think it's that good. Right. Obviously I didn't suggest it for our popular horror films because I don't think it's that awesome. Right. And some very classic Monster Mash.
I mean, this is like a go-to for most Halloween parties.
Right. Boris Pickard. Is it Pickard?
Yep. Bobby Boris Pickett. Oh, Pickett.
And the Crypt Keeper 5. They call it, though he says the Crypt Keeper 5 in the song, right?
I think he does. It's been a long time since I've heard listen to it's been a while. It's usually just playing in the background if I hear it.
Well, we'll have to listen to it on your Halloween playlist and tell me what he says.
Yeah.
And then these are yours. I've never even heard of these before.
All right. So yeah, I brought All Hallows Eve by Typo Negative just because when I'm in the spooky mood season, Typo Negative is dark, slow, gothic, doom metal, I guess would be what they'd be called, but they're very slow, heavy metal with an amazing deep voiced vocalist. And All Hallows Eve, it's just great. I love the song. And then I ended up bringing Trick or Treat by Fastway, which comes from the 80s film Trick or Treat, because the band that's one of the reasons why that movie does not have a Blu-ray or out of print release is because of the copyright issues with Fastway. But another just song that I love listening to. And then there's two more I was going to add to this list that I just thought of, both from Alice Cooper. One is Feed My Frankenstein,
which is an awesome song.
Yeah, I just fucking love that song and totally fits for Halloween. And then the other one also has Frankenstein in the title, but that is Teenage Frankenstein from Friday the 13th, Part 6.
Teenage Frankenstein?
Yeah.
From Friday the 13th, Part 6. Where does that song play?
I believe that one plays in the scene where the couple is in the camper and Jason shows up and ends up being on top of the camper. And
oh, that one.
Yeah.
Good one.
But yep, those are some of the songs that I listen that are also on my playlist that I didn't see on here, so I wanted to.
Those are awesome that you added them. So those are just some of our songs. Maybe we'll do a post asking what songs do you like to listen to kind of get you into the Halloween mood on Halloween night or leading up to a Halloween party or something like that. But they're a lot of fun. I do listen to horror movie soundtracks too. I listen to the soundtrack from The Thing and other such ones as well, but I really find that these are the ones that are constantly hitting repeat for me.
Yes.
I sometimes like to listen to the original Adam Family song too. It's a cute little song.
I love that.
Right. But I really do love Marilyn Manson's This Is Halloween. I just think it's a really good version of that song.
He does a very good job. And and both, I say, both songs are amazing. And and it's just a different feel when you listen to both of them.
I agree. Yeah, one's a little bit more fluffy and cute. The other one's
creepy
and concerning, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to take a brief break here from one of our Legion friends, and we come back. We're going to talk about popular Halloween movies. So these are popular Halloween movies for the masses. So we really thought about movies that have come out that, most people would watch around the season if they're not super huge horror fans. And we really went into the vault and we pulled out some childhood memories for both of us.
Did.
So I'm excited to talk about them. And then also we'll be doing our Out of the Dark spoilers on to watch trailers or not to watch trailers. So Dave C., hold on to your hat because we're going to talk about the experience I had with watching 0 trailers for Halloween Kills and Scott watching all the trailers for Halloween Kills. So
it'll be a fun discussion.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So after these messages, we'll be right back.
Once there was a show called the Not So Evil Episode Sidecast. It was a long name, Batman. No one could ever remember it. They released 25 episodes of brilliant film criticism.
And like that, he's gone.
Now, 6 months later,
we're back.
I didn't know we were gone.
We've got a brand new name, new movies to review, but the same old attitude.
Foul language and obscure references? Count me in.
Each episode, we pick a topic, watch 4 movies related to that topic, then bicker amongst ourselves to decide which film is the best.
We're the Theme Warriors!
Join Iris, Jeffrey X. Martin, Doug Tilley, and myself for Theme Warriors. 4 people, 4 movies, 1 dynamite show. Catch us on iTunes, Stitcher, and the Horrorphilia Network of podcasts, as well as the Legion Podcast Network.
That's the Theme Warriors. don't want to sleep no more.
Who are you people?
Welcome back. We are going to be talking about some popular movies that are watched around Halloween time. We don't really have an article for this. We didn't have an article for last year's Halloween either. There's lots of history out there regarding Halloween, but we wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about movies that more than just horror fans know and love. Or maybe for some people, it was a gateway to getting into horror films, watching some of these movies that we're going to talk about now. Personally, for some of these, it was a first time watch for me. And that's kind of cool. Or like for one of them particularly, I hadn't watched it in so long that I remembered nothing from the film, like absolutely nothing. And so watching it again really allowed me to kind of explore why my co-host loves this movie so much, which I totally see why after rewatching it. But definitely, I don't think there was one movie on here that I did not enjoy.
Yeah, same.
They were really, really fun to watch.
Yep. And there's one first time watch for me as well, which I know is the same, one of the same first time watches for you.
Yeah, right. Like, which is, yeah, it was a lot of fun. So we'll get into them. We'll get off with the first get off. Well, that's kind of appropriate with this movie, right? So let's go to the first film.
All right. So the first film we will be talking about today is The Rocky Horror Picture Show, which was released September 25th, 1975. A flat tire leaves Brad and Janet, damn it, Janet, stranded on a stormy night. They experience strange incidents when they seek shelter in a nearby castle belonging to Dr. Frankenfurter, an eccentric transvestite. So, yeah, as we were kind of discussing, this is one of our first time watches.
Yeah, I had never seen this film.
Yep.
I don't know how I knew. Weirdly enough, Time Warp is famous.
Yeah.
So I knew the song, but I had just never got around to watching it. And I don't know what's wrong with me. Right? Because this film is amazing. So much so, I am going out as one of the characters next week for Devil's Night. I have the corset, the stockings, everything else, and I'm doing that. I love this movie. It's amazing.
Yeah, like I think when I was younger, I caught like a tiny bit of it on cable at my grandmother's house. And that was all I seen was like maybe just a couple minutes when I was flipping channels or something like that. But yeah, watching it for the first time, knowing loosely like the stuff about the film, because surprisingly enough, I didn't know the full amount of this story. I had a freaking blast with it. Like most people know that I am a huge fan of musicals, and this one just hit all the right chords for the musicals. Like it had a lot of just fun campiness to it. I can see why this is considered a cult classic, because my God, this movie is so damn entertaining. And I have to say, for being a first time watch, I did not realize how sexual and horny this film was.
Oh my God. Just a sweet transvestite coming from transsexual Transylvania. Oh my gosh. Like let's just explore here. You start off with it's Brad and Janet, totally like white, typical fucking average names, played by Susan Sarandon. And who is the gentleman?
I didn't recognize him. I should have been looking that up.
Right, but that doesn't matter. Tim Curry is really the one that steals the show in this movie anyway.
Yes.
And Richard Hall, I believe it is, who plays the butler. Is it Richard Hall?
I think so, yeah.
And I love the scene when they pull up to the mansion and Richard Hall answers. And finally I was like, oh, Scary Movie 2, I get it now. Yep. And then I thought, isn't it ironic that Tim Curry was in that movie?
Yeah, no shit, right?
Right? And that they had that kind of, like, that's really, really interesting. And I love the time warp sequence and the dancing that they do. And then Tim Curry comes down, and I have probably played that song, Sweet Transvestite, out over and over and over again this week. I have just loved it so much. I just think it's the coolest song, and the exploration of sexuality in this film.
Yeah, like, way ahead of its time.
Way ahead of now, not only with talking about, cross-dressing and transsexuals, but even the sexual scene where he's with Susan Sarandon and then he's with the gentleman, Brad, and the sexual things that are indicated, how there's both Brad and Janet are supposed to be waiting till marriage and all this other shit. And then they become these sexual, like they kind of take off their clothes and rip them of the their conservative sexual identity, which is a line that Tim Curry says, I can treat the symptoms but not the disease. Right.
Yes.
And I really dug how this really just pushed the limits. Now Meatloaf is in it, who is my all-time favorite singer. He has a little bit of a cameo in it, and where they turn into statues, and then when they perform it with the cabaret, and I'm going out as the woman with the red hair. That's who I'm going to be going out with from the cabaret. Fuck, all these songs are great. The movie flows, and like I don't know what else to say. Tim Curry has amazing voice. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, like he not only does he have an amazing voice, but damn was he good looking.
Like a handsome man. Definitely, like he's definitely much of a man by the end of the day. And he looked good as a woman too. Like he looked good either way.
Yeah, and like I don't know, like he just steals the show. Like just everything that he's in this, like every scene that he's in this film is funny or creepy or just sexual or just downright amazing. Like I was just so impressed with this film. Because I figured, I'm like, okay, a lot of people love this film. I'm gonna watch it and be like, it's okay. I can see why it's loved. But no, I was just enamored with it completely through and through. And I see why this is one of those films that people go to for like a Halloween watch now. Like, for many aspects of it, like for one, lots of costume ideas come from this film.
Absolutely,
tons of costume ideas. And it just has that creepy aspect to it that fits the spookiness, and it, like we've talked about before, kind of a gateway into horror, though definitely more an adult themed gateway into horror.
Definitely. Even then, I would say nowadays, I think our society is much more open to sexuality. And I think that you could show this, know your kid, but I don't think it's something that a 12-year-old couldn't watch. Honestly, like I think that there's some sexuality stuff that's explored here. Depends on your kid, depends on your family, depends on your values, obviously. But like, I think that I think there's worse shit that's available that's more offensive than this is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think that with this film being a musical and having such catchy songs made this, like that Time Warp song is so catchy. And I think like us, we knew Time Warp even without seeing the movie.
Yeah.
I knew it was from Rocky Horror Picture Show, right? I knew what Rocky Horror Picture Show was. And I read that it was supposed to be making fun of sci-fi movies.
Yes, like the old B-movie sci-fi stuff from the 50s.
Right, which it was pretty funny with the aliens that come in. But I feel like this movie did a great job of being creepy, sexual, the costumes, you're right, the music, everything kind of gives that Halloween vibe without being overly scary. And that's why it's shown at drive-ins. That's why it has this huge cult following where people dress up for it. And because I've been talking so much about it, Facebook sent me a Rocky Horror Picture fan group that I joined.
Nice.
And it really is just a really fun loving film.
Yeah. And
I'm sure there's some cultural issues with it today. I'm not going to pretend like there isn't. I didn't find anything offensive, but then again, maybe it didn't. I'm not a transvestite, or I'm not transsexual. I'm not someone who's homosexual. It didn't offend me. Maybe it does to other people, but I don't know. I really loved it.
Yeah, so did I. I found this just to be so damn endearing and entertaining. Like like we've said before, ahead of its time. One thing I wanted to bring up too, and just to show the popularity, like that this still has fucking 40 years later, like over 40 years later. Holly Macek from the Beyond the Screams podcast, I forget the character's name, but she lives in Chicago, and she does she stars in a play version of this.
Nice.
Of this movie, and she plays the maid.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I seen pictures of her, and she constantly is posting about it all the time, and I thought that was really cool. Like, it just goes to show, even movie may be done, but then people are still bringing it back to life, and it's constantly got to run in theaters.
Super, super relevant. I know they tried to make a sequel. I haven't watched the sequel.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, there's a sequel. I think it's 2015 it was made.
Wow.
Which, it's hard to, not that I'm like sequels, we all know I like sequels, and I'm like, do you? But I think it's hard to recreate without Tim Curry. I think there's just some magic in there. And Susan Sarandon too. I didn't know she could sing. She was great too. I think this movie just is a lot of fun, and it's like a party, and it's totally something that just lifts your spirits, even though Tim Curry's character dies in it and Meatloaf gets killed by him. For some reason, you're not upset about a lot of stuff. When Meatloaf got killed, I was like, oh no, Meatloaf, because I like Meatloaf and I was hoping he was going to come back and be through the rest of the movie. But like, it
kind of comes back.
Yeah,
no
for sure.
In a reveal.
For sure. But it was just a really, really fun film. And I see why it has its place in Halloween horror pop culture. I see why a lot of people in the masses like this film and continue to today. We're talking about a movie here that is almost 40 years old. Or no, older than that.
Yeah, it's almost 50.
Almost 50 years old, and it still is rocking it. And, I think that says something, right?
Yeah. And I was gonna say, I just noticed this. I almost went to it if I had the time to do it, but Thursday night here at the Capitol Theater in Flint, Rocky Horror Picture Show is playing there.
Nice. See, like that's what happens. It just plays all the time, and it has its place in cinema history, and I think it deserves to be there. Our next film also has its place in cinema history. We talked about it in our top 5, but I'll get Scotty to introduce him.
All right. So, what is the Halloween season without John Carpenter's Halloween, released October 25th, 1978? On a cold Halloween night in 1963, 6-year-old Michael Myers brutally murdered his 17-year-old sister, Judith. He was sentenced and locked away for 15 years. But on October 30th, 1978, while being transferred for a court date, a 21-year-old Michael Myers steals a car and escapes Smith's Grove. He returns to his quiet hometown of Haddonfield, Illinois, where he looks for his next victims. Now, obviously, this movie doesn't need much introduction. It's an iconic classic, and this one is like the epitome of Halloween. Like, everyone watches this around this year. Even non-horror fans tend to flock to this film around this time of year, and all the Halloween stores are always playing the score to this movie. It is like, while watching it, it does not feel like a Halloween themed movie, because obviously it was not filmed anywhere in the eastern part of the states or anything like that, so you got the palm trees and stuff like that they try to cover up.
I don't really notice the palm trees.
Yeah, I'll say they're very good. They're good at job at covering it up, and they put a lot of dead leaves on the streets to make it feel like fall, since they don't.
Yeah, they painted them, and they painted. What did they buy? They couldn't find enough pumpkins. So it wasn't pumpkin season.
Oh yeah.
They painted a certain other kind of fruit, like I forget what it was called, but orange.
Yep, I was gonna say, because it has some Halloween vibes later on, and as the movie goes on, but this one doesn't hit the theme. But man, this is one of those movies that's always watched around this time of year, and for good reason. It's a great entry-level horror film.
So when you were reading that synopsis, Scott, I tried to separate from all the other Halloween movies that have come out. And I tried to put myself back in 1978 to this film being released. And the basic concept, before there was a franchise, before the music was famous, before Jamie Lee Curtis was anybody, and before John Carpenter was anybody, it's a really simplistic plot.
Yeah.
Crazy killer kills his sister on Halloween night, gets locked up, gets released, and comes back to kill more people. We get rid of the whole sister concept. We get rid of the whole, legacy that is developed. It was basically just about a dude who was crazy, who came back to kill more after he killed his sister. And if we think about it, if that had been the only film, I think the Halloween movies, obviously, when you have one film, it looks at differently, but I think we would capture more of how simplistic that plot was.
Yeah.
Without getting so complicated with, Halloween 2, 4, 5, 6, the diversions of, Halloween to Halloween 2018 to Halloween Kills. I think we've exploited the character so much that it's really moved away from the original conception. He was just called the Shape.
Yeah.
Michael Myers was a name that they gave because he needed to have a name.
Yeah, Michael Myers was basically his child name, his human child name. And then after that, he was just the Shape.
It was a character. It was no different than if, Scott was in a movie and he was called Scott Crawford.
Right.
No different than that, right? And the concept was just simply a 6-year-old kid loses it one night because his sister doesn't take him trick-or-treating, or he's just crazy. Parents come home and see that he created this crazy murder. And, for 15 years he's locked up, and when he gets out, he wants to do it again.
Yeah.
So he goes back to where he lived before. He goes back to his old house because that's what's familiar. And he sees some chick come up to the door to drop off a key. And if you look at it from just that perspective, wrong place, wrong time.
Yep.
right, then it really, for me anyway, changes the presentation of this film. It was
really
a big slasher film and no blood.
Yeah, I was gonna say
minimal.
I was like completely bloodless except for the very beginning scene for the most part.
Right. And characters that you could relate to, which thank you, Deborah Hill.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Deborah Hill. The three girls, their relationship and those actresses sold that movie. Like they sold that concept of them. Jamie Lee Curtis, has a legacy of acting in her family, but she just took this role as an innocent girl who had to now fight off this crazy dude who was the Shape. Like, let's go back to think that this was called the Shape. He was called the Shape.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I was saying, like, basically just stalked her because she was there.
Right. And
there was no other purpose with this film.
Right. And the kids were cute. The Halloween of the trick-or-treating and watching the scary movie and watching The Thing 1952. It's just great now that I've, and then he remade The Thing.
Yep.
Like, isn't that so many things, right?
That's why, because he loved that movie and he wanted to put it in this film, and then here he is. Like,
right?
What was it? 4 years later makes the remake.
Right. And I do feel like what this movie has done is it created that nonsense, non-logical killing of a dude who wears a mask, which we all do at Halloween, who was evil as a child, got locked away, came back. And we had child horror. We had The Omen. We had other, we had Bad Seed. We had definitely children that were evil. But this was one that escaped and had this superhuman power. And the suspense, like the one scene where who's the friend that's babysitting and her shirt gets stuff on it? I can't remember the character.
Annie, I think it was.
Annie. And she goes out to the I don't know, for some reason the laundry machine's in the garage or the wherever it is.
Yeah, it was like in a separate like building outside, which
right. Fuck, that whole scene is great.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and for this film, one thing that I didn't notice it the first few times I watched it because it was VHS or whatever, but as we got better picture quality as DVD and Blu-ray and all that stuff started coming out, like you notice, at least for me, I tended to notice Michael Myers more in the background as the picture quality got better. So there's just like scenes where Annie's on the phone talking to Laurie and you just see the Shape just standing in the background, not doing anything, just standing there, and it's just unsettling. Like, that's one thing I love about this film that the other films kind of like lost, was the stalking of Michael Myers. Yeah. Like the other where he became a brutal killer, like this just more, he's there almost all the time just watching.
The other films became focused on Michael Myers as a legend.
Yes.
This film was just focused on a dude that escaped, who was showing up in a town that he lived in before and decided to kill some chick that came by.
Yeah.
Because he killed his sister, probably liked how it felt, got locked up, wasn't able to do it anymore, got out and wanted to do it again.
Yep, wanted to do it again and just kind of do it more.
Right? And Nick Castle, like when you watch that Netflix, The Movies That Made Us, and you find out how drunk Donald Pleasant was in that scene with the nurse, that he had drank an entire bottle of rosé. So for people who haven't watched it, Donald Pleasance is driving up with the nurse and, to the insane asylum, and he's fucking hammered. I can't watch it the same way now because you look at his eyes.
Oh, you could definitely
tell.
They're
super glossy. Like he was fucking tanked. I just thought he was like abrasive because he was upset to be in the situation. As like that was his acting, like he was trying to be like real concerned about where he was going. And I think that's kind of built with like, this is like, oh, Loomis knew from the beginning he was so bad. No, Loomis was fucking shit-faced and was just trying to get through the film. Like it really does like change it for you. Or how difficult that camera view killer of the kid and why they put the mask on.
Yeah.
Like honestly,
like a lot of what they talked about in that Movies That Made Us was very eye-opening, like stuff I didn't like, because this film's been talked about so much, but there was stuff in there that I've never heard of before.
Well, they focused on the crew for once.
Yeah.
For once we heard from the crew and like what actually needed to happen. I mean, instead of like, oh, my inspiration for this movie came from, and the acting that like Nick Castle's like, all John told me to do was stand there and tilt my head. Like this wasn't a deep film. Like I just stood there. Right. And I really appreciated his realness of being like, it's great that you guys love it, but I literally stood there, and I think it just managed to capture that fear of a babysitter. And did you like how there was never a title of The Babysitter Murders?
Yeah, like I was shocked about that. Like
I was fucking thrilled when he said that. He's like, that was made up. I never wanted to call it that. I was like,
right, like
what?
That
was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I totally see why this has its place in pop culture. I see why so many sequels have been made off of it, why he's seen as such an iconic character, how he went from being a shape and just being a dude to building this legend, because as people we want a reasoning as to why people do things. Like even in Rocky Horror Picture Show, we kind of got, they did tell us why Tim Curry was there and why they were there and what they were doing and the purpose of the house and what they were trying to achieve. Halloween doesn't give you that. It doesn't. That's why other movies were built on it, to build on the lore or the story. Same with Nightmare on Elm Street. When you first watch Nightmare on Elm Street, you're like, oh, it's dude, he was a piece of shit and he came back and he haunts you in your dreams. But then as movies went on, the lore increased.
Yeah, because they had to at least add more to the character.
Same thing in Hatchet. You watch the first Hatchet, you're not getting like Kane Hodder's role in it and his, his son and how his wife dies and he bangs the nurse and all this other
right
stuff. Like that comes later on. Like, and I find that that's a capsule. And I think this movie just cemented its piece in film history because of the simplistic of it, how simplistic it was, but also how it was easy for everyone to absorb it. And you're right, the stalking and the suspense.
Yeah, and I was just saying, like, how brilliant of them to just take a holiday and put that as the title of the movie, and then to release it right before that specific holiday. Because I think, I could be wrong, but this may be like one of the first like horror films to just use like the holiday as a name.
Yeah, I can't think of another.
But it works with this film, like just because everything happens on that day. That's
Absolutely.
the only reason. And it there is a reason this film is played on TVs constantly around this time of year, and why like everyone knows the name Michael Myers. Like he is a legend in our horror film history.
Yep, he's cemented himself in film history, and I think the fact that it was the first film that Netflix discussed in Movies That Made Us tells us the impact that this had on society in general. So. Another film that impacted society in just maybe a different way. It did.
Well, at least the character did.
Yeah, the character did. So why don't you introduce this bad boy?
All right. So we're taking a trip down Scotty's childhood memories here with this one. And this is Ernest Scared Stupid, which was released October 11th, 1991. There are Halloween mischievous galore when Ernest accidentally sets a troublemaking sprite free from its wooded tomb. Very simple plot synopsis, but this is one that I wanted to bring to the table because this was a Halloween tradition and still is a Halloween tradition for me. Ever since I was a little kid, I grew up loving Ernest. I have every one of his movies on DVD right now. But yeah, like this is something that I grew up with Jim Varney playing this character. Just he does such a wonderful job and it's very wholesome. And this is one of those films where you take a character and put him into a horror scenario, if you will, but obviously made for children. And you get this film that is very childlike, but also has some moments of creepiness to it due to the special effects makeups of the Chiodo brothers who did like Critters and Killer Clowns from Outer Space, who also repurposed Killer Clowns from Outer Space puppets for this film for some of the trolls. But yeah, I just have an endearing love for this film. This one is not going to be like a Halloween tradition for everybody because I think you just had to grow up in the generation that grew up on Ernest, because I don't think a lot of people in the newer generations will really get Ernest or really enjoy that type of humor.
This is very much a 1991 film, made for 1991.
Yes.
Reflecting humor. I did enjoy some of the adult jokes that Ernest tried to make throughout this film. That were definitely made for the adults that were watching. And Jim Varney, I don't think words can express what a good person he probably was. And his ability to engage with different personality personas and present that in a film. There were parts where that was just written in so he could do that. Completely unnecessary, but very much written in for that purpose. I will say for a kid's film, it moves along very nicely. The acting, is what you expect for a kid's film from 1991. It's fine.
Like especially from like pretty much like you're watching this for Ernest, and Ernest is what carries the movie.
The trolls are excellent. The practical effects in this are very good. The concept that he changes people into wood and he takes kids' energy so he can grow and be stronger, which is going to be similar for our last movie too. I like Ernest's relationship with the kids, though. A grown man taking kids up to a treehouse would probably not be seen as the most appropriate thing.
No,
even though it could be absolutely harmless. Let's be real here.
Yeah,
I think there is, some innocent that you could just be a friendly person that spends time with kids. Not every man, and men do end up being put in this category, who like children who don't have them, is something's wrong with him. I definitely don't think that's the case here. So I do like the naivety and the wholesomeness of that being, presented, that he's just this guy who likes the kids and he built a tree house and hangs out with them. And,
Yeah, and Ernest as a character himself is also just very childlike and whimsical.
Yeah, and what I don't like is they call him dumb a bunch of times. I really didn't like that. It's very much 1990s, and I understand that, oh, Heather, that's what it's about. I don't like when anyone gets called dumb. I don't think it's, because he's innocent and sweet and,
a bit naive.
A bit naive, but I wouldn't say that makes him dumb. He ends up, of course, being the hero at the end of it. And I did think that, for the 90s, for the special effects that were used at this time, the pace that it moved was really funny. Now I get where you make that booger. How about a bumper sandwich, booger lips?
Yep. How about a bumper sandwich, booger lips?
And then he realizes at the end that it's not anger, it's love. Right. And the bullies are all everyone kind of comes around and, his friends all of a sudden. And I do enjoy the woman that plays kind of like the witch or the...
Oh, yeah, Eartha Kitt. She actually played Catwoman in the Adam West original Batman series.
Oh, cool. Yeah, she was fun. I definitely don't have the touchy-feelies that you do, but I get why when this came out in the 1990s, why it made so much money. It made something like $11 million at the box office.
Yeah, which is crazy to me for an Ernest
which is
film.
a lot of money for an Ernest film. This movie definitely didn't cost that. And I just think it's a fun little movie, and I think it does have its piece in horror history, especially in the 1990s, and it's a good little kids film. I don't know if kids nowadays would appreciate it, but I do think there's some nostalgia with it, and I do think it moves pretty quick. And Jim Varney, rest in peace, gone too soon from this world.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite childhood actors that when he passed away just really affected me, because I was just because he was just such a kind soul. Everybody has ever
funny.
said. Yeah,
he was funny, and his facial expressions were great. And you're right, Jim Carrey definitely got inspiration from him. How could you not, with how Jim Carrey acts? But I think Jim Varney was just he was very sweet. And I think his transfer between the older lady to the army guy to whatever, unnecessary completely in this film, was not needed. But I appreciate that he wanted to incorporate that because of his ability to.
Yep, and plus that's just Ernest. Right? In every one of his films, he does
right.
That.
It was just an Ernest, which is such a 1990s thing too, right?
Yeah.
So very fun. And it was released at the right time, October 11th, 1991. Enough time to get kids watching it up to Halloween.
Yep, exactly. And it did definitely have a lot of Halloween feels, because you have the Halloween, because it's a small town, so you got the Halloween little town party and the raffle going on there and people going trick-or-treating and in their costumes and stuff like that. So it definitely had the feel of Halloween. And yeah, like you said, and I was bringing up earlier, the new generation kids, won't probably like this. There'll be a few that will, but if parents tried showing their children this movie now, I don't think they would probably just look at you and go, really?
Yeah,
it's
I think
it's a part of its time,
dumb, right?
Yeah,
it was a part of its time, and that's okay. Sometimes you just have time capsules. But we have another one that I thought would be like that too, but it wasn't, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, this is one that kind of pretty much can go in any time capsule. It's not just from its time for the most part. The film that is, though, is Hocus Pocus from July 16th, 1993, which is a very weird very weird time to release.
Yeah,
this
I don't get why they did that, unless they were hoping to have a VHS
release.
Yeah, thank you. Not VHR, but VHS release for October.
Yeah.
Because I think I remember watching this at a Halloween party, as a kid. It was released by then, and we got to watch it for our Halloween party.
Yeah, because I think I've seen this in theaters, if I remember correctly.
Did you? Okay.
Yep. But the synopsis is 3 witches resurrect after 300 years to exact revenge and begin a reign of terror after Max A young boy who moves to Salem with his family lights a cursed candle of black flame. So yeah, this one obviously was a Disney film. This is like definitely like the true family-oriented Halloween movie. Like everyone talks about this film every year. Like it plays, like it still plays in certain theaters around this time of year as well. Talks of a sequel have been hyped up for many, many years. Don't think that's ever going to happen. But there's a reason. This film, while made in the 90s, just kind of fits like any time that you want to watch it. Like it just had like
oh yeah,
it's not really necessarily a time capsule. Like this one, like yeah, there are some references and some acting that feel a little dated, but when you have the performances of freaking Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and what was her name, Kathy Nagy, I think.
Yep.
All three of them, just as the Sanderson sisters, freaking just make this movie so good. And then, I mean, even
the kids,
even the kids did great. And for us horror fans, we have the great costumed character actor Doug Jones playing Billy the Zombie.
Yes. Oh my God, Billy the Zombie. I forgot how great Billy the Zombie was. I was really resistant about doing this movie because I hadn't watched it in a long time. I always see people's decorations up for it. I'm like, it's a fucking Disney film. I don't love Disney films. I'm an adult. Adults don't watch Disney films. This film came out when I was 10 years old, right? And I don't think I've watched it since I was maybe 12. So it's been a long time, and I was 100% wrong on this film. It was one of the, like, I liked all the films we watched. Let me make this clear. I enjoyed all of them. Even Ernest Scared Stupid was an enjoyable film to watch. But this film made me cry at the end. And I never thought in a million years that a Disney film would make me cry again, but this one did. And I love this film. I absolutely love the background story. It's so fast paced for a kid's film.
Yeah, very fast paced.
Like it doesn't drag at all. All the scenes are funny. Even the scene where the three witches get on the bus and the comments that Bette Midler makes and stuff. Oh my fucking God. Like it's funny, the shit she says. Or then they go to the old actors, the old man. And the devil, and they're like, Master, oh my God. As an adult is so funny. And Sarah Jessica Parker's character, and just like when they're at the dance and they do that song, and Bette Midler like is such a good singer.
Yes, beautiful voice.
Right. And it's so much fun. It's just such a fun film. I'm surprised how much they bring up his virginity in this film.
Yeah, for a Disney film.
Like, I didn't quite get that part, but that's okay. It happens.
I think I think that's part of the whole dated part of the 90s.
Yeah, Ryan is like, oh, he's a virgin. I'm like, I hope so. He's like fucking 14. Like, why?
Right.
Why are we making this a big deal? He should be a virgin. That's like, you shouldn't be out banging all these girls, right? But guys. But yeah, like it's just so much fun. The three witches and the dialogue that they have with each other, and oh man, the costume design in this as well, like the costumes that they're wearing and how it happens on Halloween night and how they behave. And the kids are great, like they're fun, and the book is great. The special effects with the eye with the book,
yes,
like, oh my goodness,
and I love,
what a great film.
And I love Bette Midler's just constant like baby talk to it, like, oh, here I am, here's mother, and it's like all getting excited to see her, like it's like a pet.
And the black cat that talks. Remember that was a big thing in the 90s. There was talking animals.
Yep, Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Like it was all this shit where animals could talk, and that cat was really great. And that was a scene that I cried. So at the end, the cat was really a spirit that had been locked in because he was trying to save his sister from the witch 300 years later. And because the three characters, the three kids, so it's Allison, Max, and Danny, break the curse. They kill the witches. Then he's set free, and his little sister comes, and I started fucking bawling. Because she's like, where were you? You've been gone so long. And I'm like,
and that's saying something because you rarely cry with a
No. And I was like, what am I told Scott I was crying. He's like, are you really? And I said, I'm lying. I just made it up. I'm not crying, because then I was embarrassed and I didn't want him to know.
Well, and you know me, I wouldn't be picking on you for that at all. Like it actually made me smile.
You're not a bully like me, but I'm just kidding. I know Scott would judge me. I was just being funny. But man, this movie, like, I don't even know what to get to. Like when they're walking down the street and they're like boiled in trouble and like
and like the way they're walking together, and like I just love it because it's like they don't know about all this technology. So like when the cars show up and sirens are going, they freak out and run.
They run. Or like he's like, I call on the rains of death and it's a fire alarm and they're hiding and
yeah, thinking the rain is like acid fire.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Though the scene with the older gentleman, I want to find out what his name is. I think he's called Maury, but that's not his actual name. It's Gary Marshall, who plays the devil.
Oh, yes.
Master! Like, it's just so fucking funny. Like, I can't get past how funny that scene is.
And how he just like welcomes them into their house. He's like, oh, sit down, enjoy yourself, have fun.
And his wife's super pissed off that he's brought these 3 chicks in, and Sarah Jessica Parker just keeps on hitting on everybody. And oh my gosh, it's so great. Such a great film. I totally take back everything negative I've ever said about Hocus Pocus. It is a fun film today as it was in 1993. Like, and they don't say anything that's overly offensive in it. Like, there was nothing that stood out to me that was like, I can't believe they said that. Like, the kid has his sneakers stolen. That would still happen today. Besides not having cell phones. But even then, I didn't even think about it because I'm like, well, why would they use a cell phone to call their parents? Their parents are at the dance. They would just assume that their parents are.
Yeah, nothing would have happened differently.
You know, they're having a good time. It's Halloween night and they're partying. They went there. They saw what a party it was. Like there was nothing that really stood out to me of like, like, you know what I mean? Like it made sense now today.
Yeah. And like this, just hearing this, like how much you're loving it just makes me so happy. And like, it gives me like that. Yes, I succeeded in like getting Heather to watch this and she loves it. I'm so proud.
Yeah, I was incorrect in my assumptions beforehand.
Yeah, because this film, like it just like kind of like Trick or Treat. This film just feels like Halloween when you watch it. Like
good.
It's so good. And yeah, like I was so bummed. 2 years ago at the Capitol Theater in Flint, Kathy Nagy was actually at the Capitol Theater hosting a showing of this movie. And I was so pissed because I could not make it because of something that was going on. I can't remember what happened, but I ended up missing out on it. And I was so fucking bummed because I thought that would have been really cool to see.
Well, I can imagine. And I think they truly did like each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean when they filmed this? And I think that's really awesome that they truly seem to get along, the 3 ladies. And, you know, unfortunately, I don't know if they could reprise these roles now. Just because they are older. I don't know if it would make sense.
Right, like you know what I mean. They're still trying for it, but like I don't think
I don't think this movie needs a sequel. To be honest with you, like I don't think Rocky Horror Picture Show needed a sequel. Like I think there's, yet again, you know, I know I'm this person that says sequels are fine, but like if they did, great, nothing's wrong with that. I just don't know if it's needed to continue on the story. Right, that's all. I think you can just rewatch this movie and enjoy it. But hey, if they remake it and they do a readaptation of it, why not? You know, like I enjoy this one and maybe I won't like the remake or maybe I will. Who cares? Either way, these are 4 fun Halloween films for the masses that we talked about today. All of them have a special place in our hearts, maybe some a little deeper than others. I'm thinking of Halloween and Ern's Scared Stupid for Scotty, and definitely Rocky Horror Picture Show for me and Hocus Pocus. But yeah, really, really fun films.
Yeah, I'm glad we decided to do it this way and just talk about some films like that aren't necessarily truly horror, but they still like fit into that category enough. And it's just something fun we wanted to do, and I'm glad that we got to do this.
Absolutely. Wow.
Now
we've come to the feature presentation.
Oh boy.
I know people have been dying to know what Scott and I think of Halloween Kills, because Scott and I have been pretty quiet online.
Yeah.
We've made comments here or there, but we haven't shared our perspective. Yeah. Scott and I watched this movie within 24 hours of each other last weekend. And I watched 0 trailers going into this film. Scott watched all the trailers.
Yep, every trailer. There was even a trailer that came out like a week before the movie came out. And I almost didn't realize it. And when I heard about it, I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to watch it because I want to have every trailer just to show me what it is in the film, just so we can have this discussion.
And it's there. And we did this simply because of the debate between watching trailers and non-watching trailers. Both of us, I would say, had the same level of excitement for Halloween Kills. Neither one of us was more excited than the other. Yeah. We both enjoyed Halloween 2018. And thought Halloween Kills would be great, or, at least entertaining. So I'm going to let Scott talk about his experience first with watching the trailers, all the trailers, and then what his initial thoughts were of the movie.
All right. So when I watched the trailers for this, I would say, like, because it shows, Heather, did you ever go back and watch the trailers after you watched the movie?
No.
Okay. But yeah, in the trailer, pretty much, especially the first trailer, they show a lot of the Michael escaping the house on fire from 2018 and the killing of the firefighters. And like it shows like clips of the hospital, clips of this and that, like, but yeah, just basically what I got from those trailers is going, oh shit, there's gonna be a lot of kills in this film. It's gonna be a lot of carnage. All right, I'm on board. Like again, like Heather said right away, like I went into this still expecting, okay, this will be entertaining. When I seen there's a high body count, I'm like, hell yeah. I didn't change my thought process on if this is gonna be a great movie or not, because kills are one thing, story is another. And they really didn't give much of an idea of the story, except there was going to be an angry mob. Jamie Lee Curtis was going to be in the hospital. That was about the extent of the trailers. Showed some of the kills, which I could see as some people calling that spoilers, like showing like images of the kills. But my thoughts on the film itself. The trailer pretty much gave me exactly what I wanted, and so did the movie. Like, I went in expecting lots of like a high body count and a story that I probably was just going to roll my eyes at some points. And sure enough, that's what I got. Like it was a level of entertaining that I enjoyed myself with it, or I enjoyed my time with it. But the trailer for me did not take away from my experience.
Yeah, so I watched 0 trailers. I had no idea. I knew Michael lived because there was another movie. I had no idea how he survived. I had no idea what the movie was going to entail. I had 0 idea of how he was going to get out of that fiery basement and move forward. So, spoilers ahead. If you have not seen Halloween Kills and you're really worried about spoilers, this is the time to shut off this podcast. I think that if I'd seen the trailers, I would have been more disappointed than I already was. I'll put it that way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I thought the movie was fine. It was very much a bridge film between the original Halloween 2018, or the most recent Halloween, and Halloween Ends. Did I think it was a horrible piece of shit? No, of course not. It's not a horrible piece of shit. It's well filmed, awesome gore. How he got out of the fiery house and killed all those firefighters, I felt bad for that because I didn't know that part was coming.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So I felt bad for these firefighters who showed up and didn't know what they were fucking walking into and got massacred. That was probably the most emotion I felt in this movie.
Mine was characters a little bit later on we'll get into.
Yeah. I knew that Jamie Lee Curtis was hurt because I did watch the 2018 movie recently to be prepared for this one. So I did remember stuff from that one, which helped because I had to correct Scott on some stuff that he forgot about. Right. So I appreciated the hospital scene. I thought that made sense. I thought the open mic scene at the bar was the dumbest shit I've ever watched. Sorry to everyone who thought that was brilliant. I didn't think it was brilliant at all. First of all, what on earth would this fucking nurse be doing hanging out with people that would have been kids when this happened?
Yeah.
It makes 0 fucking sense.
Like, I understand trauma can bring people together, but come on.
Not with that big of an age gap.
Yeah. And hanging out drinking like they're best friends.
So she was a nurse, which means she had to be at least 25, 24 when those kids were like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here with that garbage. I did appreciate that they did a throwback where they tried to build on the 1978 one. I did think that was unnecessary. And when they did the time lapse thing at first, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And there's no fucking way we're doing this right now. I thought it was fine. Biggest shocker, I thought it was a hologram that played Donald Pleasant. Spoiler, it wasn't. They got an actor that looked like him and did his makeup to make him look like him. So bravo fucking movie, because that was incredible.
Yeah, and they used the voice from the guy that did Dr. Loomis's voice in 2018, and it blended well. Like, because like you, I thought that was CGI.
I just thought it was a hologram, like Tupac. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, they got a hologram here. That's really cool. I had no idea it was an actual person. That was probably the best member berry for me of this entire movie.
Yes.
I really respected the fact that they had a throwback to that character, right?
Yes, because this film if you don't know, is loaded with member berries.
Oh man, it's all member berries. But I really liked that part of it.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting thing. The flashback has grown on me. I also liked the opening scene with the firefighters. Like I said, I felt sad, but the gore in that was fucking amazing. Like that was beautifully shot, incredible.
Yeah, the cinematography there is amazing.
Takes you back to like how this dude can't die, all this other shit, right? The stuff that happens in the hospital was fine. Where I felt this weak spot was I don't know what fucking rock they dragged Tommy and Lindsay out from underneath for this fucking acting. I understand the guy that played Tommy isn't the guy that played him originally. It's Tommy, like it's some other dude that's been
Anthony Michael Hall, who played in like Breakfast Club and stuff like that.
Yeah, he wasn't that good. The open mic night at the bar where he gets up and tells everybody the story again. I'm sorry. Do you really need to do that? Would that actually be a thing? Like everyone knows who he is, or like, oh, Tommy. So they all know that happened to him.
Right.
I just, it's a big partying night and everything. And you're like, oh, it's been 40 years. We all get together. I could hear someone going, yes, that would happen for sure. Maybe it would. And I'm just, a sourpuss. And I didn't like that part. But, I didn't need to be told over and over again what happened in 1978. Like, I know what happened in 1978.
Wait, something happened in 1978? I don't think the movie told us.
Right. And then you have that husband and wife couple randomly that are just it added to the movie for kills. Though you saw the couple leaving in the first movie. It was the same people in the first movie that are leaving as Michael's walking down the street.
Oh,
before he goes, like there was some like connection, and I appreciated that. I like how Tommy chooses a baseball bat to beat up Michael Myers with. Why is no one getting a semi-automatic gun? This is the fucking United States, for God's sake. So you guys have to get underneath your goddamn bed? Like a baseball bat? What are we? What's that movie? Warriors come out and play. Yeah. Like, what is this? Fucking Warriors? Like, honestly. So
I think what they were trying to do there is just represent the angry mob with torches a la Frankenstein, but it's just like, I mean, we even have a woman with a freaking iron in the mob.
She was all like, I got my iron fucking hot and I'm going to burn you with it.
But yeah,
I did enjoy. So some other things from the movie, like I knew none of this. Okay. I didn't know Tommy and Lindsay were going to be in the movie. So did I appreciate it? Yes. Did I appreciate the nurse was there? Sure. I didn't buy that they were all friends, but okay. And then Ronnie, you have to add an interaction that he had with him that never happened in 1978 to justify him being in the movie in, 2021. Okay, fine. You have to make up something that didn't occur in the first film. Okay. But I did enjoy the scene where they're in the minivan and Michael attacks them. Yes. Like how Lindsay gets out and is telling the kids to go home and they run away. I did find that park scene really creepy and the kills there really awesome. I like how she used like a bag of bricks to try to fight him. I thought that was really cool. I was sad when those characters died. I was like, fuck, that's too bad. Like that couple wasn't really doing anything wrong. They should have just gone home. Any thoughts you have on anything I've talked about, Scott? Because I knew none of this, right? Like I went into it not knowing how any of this was going to go down. The old couple that gets killed, the fucking gore when he shoves the light through her neck. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So I knew obviously all about the trailers. I knew about the member berries being Lindsay, Tommy, Marianne, and all those characters coming back because I read articles. It really wasn't explained like who the characters really were in the trailer. It's not like Scream 5 where he's like, I'm Tommy Doyle. Of course I carry a bat.
Hi, I'm Sidney Prescott, and I'm going to be in the 5th Scream. Sidney, Prescott. It's an honor.
But
off Ghostface. Anyway.
But I read articles leading up to, because that was when I joined Cinema Beef with Gary Hill. That was my beef was, all right, ooh, we're getting this character back. Ooh, we're getting this character back. Well, I don't give a flying fuck about these goddamn member berries. Like, it's because I'm not a huge fan of the Halloween franchise in general. Like,
yeah,
I really like 2 of the movies, and I like part 3, which doesn't really deal with the timeline at all. So I didn't give a crap about the member berry nostalgia. I can see why a lot of the fanboys, fangirls just loved it and ate it up, because obviously if there was stuff like this for a new Friday the 13th, I may be saying something differently just because I'm a fanboy of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have no issues there. But the way they did the fucking nostalgia to this was just way too in your face. And it was just like, it literally, we use the term member berries because of South Park. Remember when this happened?
Oh, I remember. Remember Halloween season of The Witch 3 and they had those masks that you put on? Oh, yeah, I remember. What if the kids were wearing those masks? And then when we kill people, the masks are put on them.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like out of all of them, that's the one I don't really mind that much, just because it wasn't just like, hey,
yeah,
Halloween 3, remember?
It was fine. Yeah, it was something that was unnecessary, much like Ronnie's story was unnecessary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get you. I think what stood out for me in this film, if we could go scene by scene, what I appreciated were the kills. The gore in this, mwah. Like, I know we talked about how great Halloween 1978 was because there wasn't a lot of gore and there was a suspension. This was just him fucking shit up for like 2 hours, and I really did appreciate that.
Yes.
Things I didn't appreciate: stupid subplots. Why are we now making up a love affair between Laurie and the sheriff that they went out to a bar one night and held hands and kissed? Why are they in the same hospital room together with their injuries? Why is there all of a sudden a second mental patient that escaped from the bus? Yes, we saw a whole bunch of them escape. Why are we now focusing on this one random guy that looks nothing like Michael Myers?
But yet somehow the mob thinks it's Michael Myers.
Like, it was dumb. Yeah, all right, I'm sorry people liked that. That was unnecessary for this movie.
I will say one thing about, like, because I felt that could have been completely cut from the film, like, and it wouldn't have changed a damn thing.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, when he is like trapped by the angry mob and he jumps out the window, that is a bit heartbreaking, just because it's like, he's literally an innocent and getting killed.
Well, we don't know if he's innocent.
Right. Well, I mean, like yeah, I was gonna say, but like what we're left with to see.
In 2018, Michael Myers was in an institution asylum with crazy, horrible, dangerous people. Right. So if this guy was on the same bus as Michael Myers, he's probably dangerous.
That is true. That is very true. But yeah, like that scene, like, I just felt bad for the character, but at the same time, I didn't care for that scene at all, and it felt completely fucking pointless and dumb. And rest in peace to that actor, because apparently he actually died before this film came out.
Oh, well, that's sad. That's actually more sad.
Yeah. I just found that out listening to, I think it was Fresh Cuts was talking about it, and yeah, so rest in peace to that actor. I wish I knew your name, but yep, sorry that this happened.
That's actually really, really sad.
Yeah.
Maybe look him up while I'm talking if you can.
Okay, yeah.
If you can,
I'll do that
because
right now.
I think that's the saddest thing I've heard about that scene so far. Here's what I felt about this scene. I am glad I didn't watch trailers because the hospital stuff was completely pointless to me. The mob mentality was Tommy and Laurie's fault. I don't know how they've said it was Michael Myers' fault and how the evil this was their fault because they decided to get like this whole town riled up of evil dies tonight. And I think if they had just chased Michael Myers in the street with that mob mentality, I would have bought it more. Yes. Judy Greer trying to protect this random patient that came to the hospital, and this overly put in scene about this is the evils that can be caused. And I am somebody who likes political messages in my horror. I felt it was forced. I felt it was unnecessary. And it was an unnecessary subplot, much like how I felt the subplot between Laurie and the sheriff was unnecessary. Though I did love how old Hawkins was there as the security guy at the fucking hospital.
That is... Well, I mean, I definitely had no problem with that.
Was it Hawkins or Beckett? Sorry, was it
Sheriff
Brackett? Sorry, Brackett was a fucking old school security. I love that. That member Barry I thought was funny.
See, I was going to say the Sheriff Brackett thing I really liked. I just wish, well, before I jump into it, the actor that passed away who played Tivoli, the escaped patient, was named Ross Bacon, and he died May 16th, 2021.
Rest in peace, Ross Bacon. Thank you for, performing actually quite well. Like, he was a good actor in that film. It wasn't his acting that was the problem.
Right, exactly. It was just the point of the whole plot.
The point of the scene was just silly.
But yeah, with Sheriff Brackett, that is like what I was going to say. The one member Barry I really liked because I thought the way they just kind of brought him into the story, it wasn't just like, hey, remember him? He was just kind of there at the hospital when everything occurred.
Man, he's like, my daughter's dead.
Well, I was gonna say that's the part that pisses me off, though. He did not. They should have shown him when Michael Myers returns, like he has. Should have gave him some emotion, like having a flashback to his daughter Annie dying. But instead, they give him the goddamn, well, it's Halloween. Everyone's entitled to one good scare line to say to fucking Michael Myers, fuck you. that pissed me off so much. It's like, you're going to bring back a character that actually like suffered a traumatic experience watching his daughter die in his fucking hands. And then he's going to see Michael Myers and reuse a fucking stupid line that shouldn't even be in this goddamn movie in the first place. Fuck that. That is bullshit.
I think with the trailer, and I feel like from what you've told me, the trailer showed all the scenes that I probably liked and not the shit I didn't like. I did like the two, Big John and Little John. I thought those actors were hilarious. I did think the line, and he stabbed her in the tits, was really funny.
Well, and I was going to say, when you were saying you felt bad for the firefighters, these are the characters I felt bad for.
I felt bad for
I
them.
wanted Big and Little John to live because I fucking love them. Unfortunately, they were doomed because they lived in Michael's house.
Right. I did enjoy them quite a bit. I thought that they were great. I thought you had more time with them. Like, even with the old couple, you do have enough time with them that you feel empathy for them. And I think that was really good parts of this film. The people that were killed in this, you had enough time with, even if they were just there for the body count, where you did like them.
Yeah.
Or you were hoping they got out. Like with that old couple, I'm like, fuck, I hope one of them gets out and warns everybody, right? Like, I hope that's where this goes. So I got to give the movie credit for that. I think that besides the hospital stuff and dumb lines like Tommy coming up to the hospital room and being like, Laurie, you took care of me when I was a little kid and now I'm going to take care of you, was some of the dumbest, stupidest shit I've ever heard. That's where people criticize the writing here. Like, some of it was great and some of it was just unnecessary.
Yeah, because Laurie, remember? I'm Tommy Doyle from the first movie. You took care of me. Remember? Remember?
And now I'm going to take care of you. Like, get the fuck out of here. And just, like, honestly, there were certain things where I was like, get the fuck out of your movie. Like, get the fuck out of here. But other things where I really enjoyed it. I did enjoy the big gang beatdown at the end. I thought that was fine.
And I love, like, I was going to say this from the beginning. Pretty much any scene with Michael Myers in it.
Yeah, that's amazing. The best way to word it. Any scene that had Michael Myers in it, it was great.
Beautiful. Great.
All the fucking, like, pieced together bar open night scene and random conversations in the hospital scenes and the sheriff that can't control anything scene. Like, all that other shit was unnecessary.
Yeah, completely unnecessary and just was added for filler or for member berries.
Yeah.
And like, and the one thing, like, it wasn't a shock either, but I fucking called it. Judy Greer's character dying at the end.
Okay, and yet again, why did she go up and stare outside of the bedroom window? Can someone please answer that on our Facebook page?
My daughter's leg is basically broken and like the cops are right there. I'm just going to walk past them and go back in the house instead of being there with my daughter. And I'm just going to go into Michael's sister's old bedroom and stare out the window longingly. Just because we need a scene for this to just happen where I get stabbed in the back when Michael Myers wasn't even near the goddamn house after getting beat down. How did he sneak back in? Where? When? What?
Here's what the ending should... No, you're right. As I was listening, here's what I was thinking. Here's what the ending should have been. He should have been beaten. He should have been laying on the ground. Someone should have done a curb stop. By the way, Judy Greer fucking curb stopped this motherfucker and he's still going. Like, let's remember, she curb stopped him on the stairs. And somehow he's still going.
Yeah.
Like, anyway, that's fine. It's Michael Myers and I can suspend disbelief. How it should have ended is there should have been a knife in his reach. He should have been facing down. His head should have been facing out. Music should have been playing. And it focuses on his face and his eyes open. And that's how the movie should have ended.
Yeah.
That's exactly how that movie. And then the second one, Halloween Ends, is him killing the mob.
Yep, and then doing the time jump.
And then not killing Judy Greer in the stupid scene.
Yep. Well, I was going to say, you know why they did it, though. You know that, right? Just to give Laurie even more fucking motivation to take him out, or give Laurie and her granddaughter more motivation to take him out in Halloween Ends. Like they needed any more motivation. We don't even know
if she's dead because we thought the sheriff from the first one, 2018, was dead too, but somehow he survived a neck injury. Right? So no one's ever really dead in the Halloween films.
Yeah, no shit.
Things that happened in the past that you don't even know about, they can make up now. We've shown that we can time travel and that we can just go back in 1978 and create things that didn't happen, which is fine. Yet again, I can forgive it for the film.
Because we didn't follow Michael the entire time he was walking around in the 78 film, so he could have ran into people.
He could have done all that stuff. That's fine. And here's the final thing about watching trailers. I think watching the trailers for this would have disappointed me more. I don't think it would have taken away enjoyment from the movie. I think I would have just been like, God, this movie looks dumb walking into it. Because I didn't know about a lot of the hospital scene stuff or the member berry stuff, I feel like that allowed me to at least sit through it and be like, okay, but it didn't change it for me. If anything, my rating probably would have been the same. I think I would have just felt a little more annoyed that I thought the trailer looked a lot better than the movie was. That's honestly what I think would have happened. And unfortunately, I've already seen the trailer for Scream 5. Yeah.
I love it.
I was watching the trailer for Scream 5 in the theater, and I thought to myself, maybe I should leave because I've been trying to avoid, I did this whole thing for Halloween Kills. Scream is one of my favorite franchises. Maybe I should leave. I didn't. There was a lot of people. It's hard to get up and around. I didn't want to get up. And I think I couldn't be any more disappointed than when I see that film. I am not excited for Scream 5 at all. And I am a Scream fan, but I think it is the most unnecessary film that they're making. I don't know why they can't leave it at 4. I know why. They want to make money and shit, and that's fine. I'll watch it. Hey, and if you enjoy Scream 5 when it comes out, party on, man. Like, nothing against you or anyone else. Like, people love Halloween Kills, and it's in their top 10. I get why. There's some awesome gore in this, and the writing in the entire thing isn't horrible. Like, it's not.
No,
it's just. But let's be real.
There's pieces of it.
And Dave C., this is to you. I understand your comparison between The Burning and Halloween, and the idea that people can't just shut off their brain and enjoy slashers. I think you make a really valid point there. But my only counter argument to that is you can't compare a movie like The Burning that had a nothing budget comparably to something like Halloween Kills. And the expectations are higher, right? So I think
also,
sorry, Scott.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You're passionate about this, I can tell.
But I was gonna say, and also just the fact that The Burning was a one-off movie with no history behind it, where Halloween Kills has a massive fan base because of all the movies before it.
And not all those movies are good, right? Like, but I do agree with him when he said people just need to learn how to enjoy movies. And I think being overly critiquing the writing on this isn't fair. I may have found some of the writing and the subplots stupid, but does that make it a bad movie? No, it doesn't. Some people probably enjoyed those lines. They probably loved the fact that Tommy said, Laurie, you took care of me, I'm going to take care of you. That could be a natural thing that is said. Just because I didn't enjoy it doesn't necessarily mean that other people didn't. So I'm not about to go out and shit on other people's thoughts. But there is higher expectations for a film like this, especially made in 2021 or 2019, released in 2021, with the budget it had, with the access that it has. Like, it has all the resources, all the money to make it an excellent film. And this film should have been a 10 out of 10. And I'm going to come in with my rating. It was a 6 out of 10 for me, floating between 5.5 and 6. I'm going to say 6 for the gore.
Which I'll say, 6 is above average. So it's still, entertaining. You enjoyed your time with it. You just had issues. And and these are our own personal issues. What I am tired of fucking seeing is people saying this is the worst Halloween movie ever. I mean, you granted your own opinion, but just saying that without giving any fucking reason, or the people that loved it so much that are trashing other people for not liking it. I'm sorry. Can people just enjoy films for what they are and stop bashing people's opinions?
Especially if you have no Halloween film ever.
Yeah,
like, it really isn't.
There are way worse films in this franchise.
I don't understand how you could think Resurrection's better than this movie.
Right.
And I joke about Resurrection, because or Curse of Michael Myers. That sounds talk about a doozy to sit through. Fuck that movie, long and boring. Right? Like, but so like it's like better than what? Better than Halloween Kills? That's fine. Or Halloween Kills, or Halloween 2018. Like, better than Rob Zombie's, which yet again, I don't think Rob Zombie's Halloweens are that bad either. I've really come and turn the tables on that one, turn my opinion around. I agree with you, Scott. I don't get how people could say this is the worst Halloween ever. I don't objectively, I don't think the film deserves that title. I don't think it's the best Halloween ever either. I don't think objectively that film deserves that title, but I think it's middle of the road.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and like I'm
middle of the road,
and I'm gonna come in with my rating. Like, as much as I bash on the member berries and all this stuff, anything that involved Michael Myers was excellent. This would have gotten a higher rating for if they had done fucking Sheriff Brackett a little better, because that really, really pissed me off. Like, I don't care like that it's the character Sheriff Brackett, but if you're gonna bring in someone that's iconic from the franchise, at least give him something like emotional, because obviously he lost his fucking daughter to this killer. When he confronts Michael Myers, have him get emotional and angry instead of just using this fucking throwaway line. I'm sorry, that just pisses me off so bad. But yeah, I feel there was just some filler here, but all in all, I'm a little bit higher than you on it. I'm a 6.5. Like, it's enjoyable. I will rewatch it at some point because it's not one of the worst Halloweens, and I do watch the ones that I have fun with, and I did have fun with this.
I recommend rewatching it before Halloween ends. It did help watching Halloween.
I'm going to rewatch 2018
before this one
Kills before it ends, just so I am refreshed on everything.
And I'm not sold by the not watching the trailer thing. I maybe will try it again. I should have tried it for Scream 5, but I was lazy. I may try it for another big film that comes out, not watching the trailer. I don't know. No, I did watch the trailer for Candyman. I'll definitely try it again to see if it makes a different impact. But so far, I don't know. It didn't make a big enough impact to me. I think my rating would have been the same.
Yeah, and I think and I think watching the trailers for me gave me a level of expectation going into this.
Yeah.
Like where I came out of it pretty much expecting what I expected. So I was not disappointed. I have my issues, but those are just personal critiques when we're trying to critique a film for what it is. But it's a slasher film, and we agree with you, Dave Z. Like, it's a slasher film. Have fun with it. Like, don't judge it harshly. Like, it's out there. And it was I was not disappointed. I didn't feel like I wasted my money. I thought the pacing of it, surprisingly, for being an hour and 45, was good. Like, I wasn't getting bored.
Yeah.
So it seems like we have kind of hit the same spot when it comes to not watching trailers and watching trailers. We're still kind of in the same ballpark right now.
Exactly, right? It's it'll be interesting to see how this continues to go on. But I do think people are allowed to their opinions. Absolutely. You're allowed to state, I stated what I didn't like about this film, and I have no apologies for that. I think some of the subplots were completely unnecessary and they added no value to the film. But I do think the gore and certain other things were excellently done. And I think the movie was a great bridge. It's a bridge movie that's connecting two other films, the first one and the last one, to the original. And, they were fun, good times movies, and props for releasing it around Halloween time.
Yes, gave us all something to look forward to this month. And, obviously this was a right choice because look at how much fucking money this thing made.
Absolutely. So props to this movie. Congratulations on the money made. I think that's awesome. Yeah. And next time we will thank you to our listeners for their suggestions for topics. We will definitely be exploring some of those. Enjoy your Halloween night. I hope that all of our listeners have a fabulous time, whatever it is that you're doing. And Scott, do you have anything to add before we say goodbye?
Just that I want to say, Heather, evil dies tonight. Tonight. Evil dies tonight.
Scott, you were there for me when evil had to die. I'm going to be there for you when evil has to die.
Yes. You want to create a mob?
Yes, we totally should. Absolutely.
All right. So until next time, everyone, happy Halloween. Safe doing whatever you end up doing for this wonderful season, and unpleasant dreams.
Bye.